Ahoy hoy! I am Plannerwalk, and welcome to Rush of Stupid. And I feel like I have problems here. Most notably, my internet connection doesn't seem to be quite as stable as I'd like it to be. But
Have you fed the hamsters?
No, I haven't.
Well, you should probably stop downloading all that donkey porn I sent you, right?
Probably.
I mean, they're quite large files. They're all 4K.
I mean, there is one thing that I can try to do to hopefully help the internet connection.
I mean, it sounds right on the stream.
Okay. Well, let's hope that this 0 kilobits per second that I'm sometimes seeing doesn't affect things too much.
Oh, can I have permission to play Whack-A-Troll with Gary?
Whack-A-Troll?
Yeah, or Nick Dipshit, as we call him.
Possibly. Anyway, whilst... I'm just, like, really this anxious. Like,
it's honestly sounds fine on the stream. You're definitely coming through.
Okay. I guess we'll have to deal with it. If people start saying about buffering, I'm going to have to...
Oh, it just buffered.
Okay. Jeez. So what I'll do is I'll introduce the panel, right? If I can give... What if I give FTFE my stream key and then let him stream it for a bit whilst I don't know.
You've seen how bad my internet can get, right?
Well, mine's currently worse. Yes. Before going up to 800, but that's besides the point. But what I'll do is I'll introduce the panel and then I'll try and reset my router so that things hopefully work better. Anyway, today on the panel we've got FTFE, Steve McRae, and Jane Spade. We'll start with FTFE. Introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm FTFE. I'm from the channel that pushes stupidity down the stairs of knowledge. Thank you for having me on. Always fun.
And then Steve McRae.
Hey, I'm not as stable. I don't know why. Your outside connection seems to be good, dude. I don't know why your OBS says otherwise, but I don't see anything wrong on the outside feed.
Well, it's saying something on YouTube, and one person said buffering here. So, and Jane Spade.
Hi, I don't have a channel, but I do live in the capital of stupid, currently a green zone of Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Now you're buffering, boy.
Yeah,
Right, so, and you don't get off the hook for actually having 4.
Right.
We're not going to forget that. Just because you've now voted in an old man doesn't mean we forget about the Cheeto controlled by the alien on his head.
But I do have to say that you have a haystack for a prime minister, so I feel like...
I mean that's true, but, we're all ruled by the Queen, and, you can't diss the Queen.
So, buffering, I'm going to stop the stream. Viewers, please don't leave. I am going to stop the stream, but not the entire stream. The stream will still be... It'll be buffering for a while, and then I'll go downstairs, reset the router. That may take a couple of minutes. I think Creaky's live if you want to just pop in and say hi whilst you're waiting for this one to come back on. So, yeah, that... Hopefully...
Wonders of modern technology.
Yeah. Alright. I'll be back. All your viewership at once, and then...
They'll come back.
Alright, hopefully... Let me see if... As people... do we have people back? Are we back? Hopefully we are.
Let me refresh and see what happens. Yep, I just heard you say, do we have people back? So now I'm going to hear myself say, yep, there we go. Yeah, we're definitely back.
Cool. So, people in chat, don't go with Vodafone if you're in New Zealand. That's the worst internet provider because this happens. I have to reset the router way too many times. Never had to do that with 2 degrees. But anyway, so yeah, let's talk about how Joe Biden is now president of the United States.
Aliens might actually talk to us now.
Yeah, it's honestly insane to me, right? That, like, to be fair, like, when it came to the initial, when Donald Trump got elected president, it was one of them things of, oh, what's the worst that he could do? And then 4 years... 4 years later...
Well, I was one of those people that said that. I was like, look, I was anybody but Hillary camp. And I said, look, Trump's going to suck. I had no compunctions whatsoever thinking that Trump is going to do an amazing job, right? So I was not like, yay, Trump. It was just, I went through the military with the Clinton years, and I didn't want any of that coming back. And I was like, the DNC making Hillary a candidate was just a bad mistake from the onset. Yeah. But I was like, okay, what's going to happen is we'll get Trump. He'll burn the system to the ground. People will realize how bad things are, and maybe we'll get some reform. I didn't know how bad it was going to be. This is true. I'll take the hit for that. But I think I called it for the most part.
I mean,
my only question is, when are you guys going to sort out the fucking Constitution and let Arnold Schwarzenegger be president already? President Schwarzenegger fucking sort everything out, right?
If only they could make changes that easily,
Yeah. Like, I think Trump almost did burn the system to the ground.
Oh, he tested things that nobody even thought of.
Literally. It was...
yeah.
Yeah. But, Donald Trump is definitely, like, as far as I can tell, Donald Trump is only interested in Donald Trump. Like, first...
he's a narcissist.
Yeah, like, Donald Trump did not attend Joe Biden's inauguration and was the first outgoing president to avoid the occasion in 150 years. That's peak narcissism there. Well, peak narcissism.
What else he did? He fired all the staff in the White House before he left. Part of the the process of him being inaugurated, he's supposed to go up to the doors, and the House guy who's in charge is supposed to open the doors and let them in, but they got to the doors and no one was there to open it because before Trump left, he fired everybody.
Yeah, they corrected
and
that.
He had a rally that he ordered, like when he was still commander-in-chief, like in the morning, he ordered the soldiers or I don't know, Marines to like give him like a 21 gun salute while he flew away.
Yeah. And he refused. And he refused Biden use of an Air Force jet to get to the inauguration as well. He made him charter his own flight.
Yeah, and I guess like his invites were like, you can come and please bring 5 people with you because nobody wanted to be there.
I'm just glad that I'm just glad that Trump is out and we've now got Joe Biden.
Right, we can only wish we had Kamala.
Well, it's probably going to be Kamala soon, so,
yeah, when Biden was walking up the steps, like at the start of the inauguration, I was holding my breath because I was like, if anything is going to get him, it's going to be a tumble down those stairs.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll take a break from the Joe Biden stuff because there's definitely more to come with that. Because this is more just letting you know that Joe Biden's president. That's if you've been living under a rock. If you haven't been living under a rock, you already know this.
Guys, I really don't understand because didn't Trump win? I mean, that's what everyone was saying, right?
He won the state of denial, but that comes with 0 electoral votes.
I only care about if Joe knows he's president, then that's fine. As long as he remembers he's president and he's aware of this, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm what? I'm in charge? I've lost my dentures.
That wouldn't surprise me if you just forgot that he was president one day.
Yeah, not at all.
Wait, what we doing? Where's Barack? Isn't he in charge?
That would also not surprise me if that happened. Like maybe he'll think that Barack Obama's just gone to hospital. Maybe he'll mistake Kamala Harris for Barack Obama. Or maybe, or maybe he'll mistake Kamala Harris for Michelle Obama and just ask her where Michelle Obama is or something like that. That would look bad on on Joe Biden's part. So, yeah.
I think the important question is, though, how long before Melania puts the divorce papers in for Trump?
That is a really good question.
I mean, did you see her face when they walked off of Air Force One and Trump like stopped to kind of wave at all the cameras, and she had a face with like, no, I'm fucking done with this, and just carried on walking.
Is that because that's what she was thinking, or is it just like the Botox that makes it impossible for her to move her face?
Well, yeah, I think in the eyes though you could tell that she had checked out. You know, she was just looking at a divorce settlement at that point.
When she slaps his hands away every time he tries to hold her hand out.
Oh, that's always beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll take a break from this and go to, this is something that I literally found out right before the stream. Apparently, rioting Dutch youths torched a COVID testing centre because of a nationwide curfew that went into effect on Saturday.
Goddamn Dutch. It's always the Dutch.
I know, right?
Who gave the young Karens a torch? I mean,
I know.
Who let them play with matches?
So we give our Karens guns. I don't know who would give them a torch
or matches. What I mean, but you know,
Dutch people, stop using incendiary devices. Just stop. No, don't use them.
Well,
fire bad. Okay, this is quite simple, guys. Fire bad.
Yeah, that's probably the good way to put it. Anyway, let me see what we've got.
What do they do? Wake up one day and say, "Hey, you know what? I got a great idea, guys. Let's go torch this." Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a case of I don't like curfews, so let's torch this thing that would allow us to know whether we can end curfews or not.
But
this will totally end well for us in all ways.
It scares me it's bad enough that one person thinks of this, but it scares me more that they're able to get people to go along with these types of things.
Yeah. The amount of stupidness that comes from the fact that if you guys just did as you were told, the curfew would be gone really soon. But no, you're just going to make it worse and burn down the place that can stop the curfew. Good fucking job.
A couple weeks of curfew or whatever, big freaking deal.
Yeah.
We've been doing it for a year here in California, for Pete's sake.
I mean, I can't remember what normal's like. I mean, we're literally not allowed to leave our house. Like, we're not getting arrested at the moment unless we've got a proper reason, you know?
I mean,
I swear I think they got armed guards outside my house.
I had to go...
that's my fault. I put them there.
I had to go about a month and just over a month without any KFC or Burger King or anything. And
hashtag third world problems. First world problems.
Hashtag New Zealand problems.
Yeah. So I've always wondered this. Can the hobbits in your country also catch COVID?
Probably. Yeah, I think so.
Well, your metabolism thanks you for actually not eating fast food for a while.
But
oh goodness, guys, there's someone in the chat who, and you're probably going to laugh at this, especially you, Steve. He says that he's debunked pi.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that subjective. Just if you like pie, you don't like pie. No.
The ratio between the circumference and the diameter of a circle, he has apparently debunked it. And this is his argument, right? It's absolutely fantastic. His argument for the reason it's been debunked is because if you draw a boundary, right, if you draw a line that's a circle, that line's going to have an inside and an outside, which have different circumferences. Therefore, pi is wrong.
Yeah.
Wait, that's his new argument. Like, his last argument was that he measured it and it was wrong, so therefore it's wrong.
Well, no, he says that you have to take into account the thickness of the tape measure that you use to measure the circumference.
Well, that's what I said.
I always ask this question. I still think that 95% of every flat earther is just making, just being a Poe. I think they're just.
Oh no, he's not. Stevie's not even a flat earther. He's just a dumbass.
Nobody's this stupid. You can't have fun. I don't understand. There you go.
Joe Biden is a clone of John McCain, just falling apart.
He says, "I'm not debunking pi. Pi is the inner, not the outer." Okay, you realize that the outer also has its own circumference and diameter, right? You don't take one circumference and then not use a difference. That's not how pi works, you fucking moron.
Hey, let me play devil's advocate here, okay, for a second. I find it's a performance contradiction. If somebody's intelligent enough to learn how to turn on a computer, actually get dressed in the morning, bathe appropriately, brush their teeth on their own, get on a computer and get into a live chat, I find it to be almost impossible that they can be that stupid that they don't understand pi.
What up,
I don't know.
fuckers?
I know there's no correlation there, but I just find it very difficult. I think all of them have to be making shit up. I don't want to believe that some people are that stupid. I just don't. I'm sorry. Am I wrong?
We were on Sam and Dan's show the other day, and I think we came to the consensus that about 80% of flat earthers oppose.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Again,
number.
this guy says that he isn't a flat earther. And right, he's saying pi is calculated of the inner. No, it's not. Okay, it's not calculated of the inner or the outer of anything. Pi is simply the ratio between the circumference and the diameter of any given circle. The inner will be its own circle with its own circumference and diameter, and the outer will be its own circle with its own circumference and diameter. That's not how it works, you insufferable moron.
I don't think
this is alternative math. We now have alternative math, as well as alternative facts.
You wait, give it a week, and he's going to debunk 1 + 1 = 2.
What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to... Oh, we've got a few more super chats. So we've got Gary Newberry that's for $4.99 says, what if Joe Biden is a clone of John McCain just falling apart?
Still better than Trump.
Well, NASA haven't got that cloning technology quite right yet. I can understand.
Yeah, I mean...
And it would have to be zombified, because John McCain is dead.
Oh.
So.
Ahoy hoy. Where are the spoons, dude? Ha ha.
I don't have... I don't have spoons with me right now.
Eat the pie with?
Oh, no, there was one video that I had ages back that I had a spoon in. And
I was like, what's the spoon reference? Okay.
Yeah, really old video.
Oh my God. Now he's saying, and you use class 1 measurements, do you? It doesn't matter what the measurement is. Any circle of any measurement will have a ratio of 3.1412 between its circumference and its fucking diameter, you moron!
I have calculated pi using a computer which has an infinitely... the circle has an infinitely small... what's it call it? The line that you draw it with is infinitely small.
Differential?
Pi is still going to be pi.
Terrific. Yeah. Well, here, whenever I see somebody say that, okay, first I hate the word debunk. I think people throw that around willy-nilly. But if somebody tells me something about math, right, the first question I'm going to ask them is something about math, right? I mean, if somebody says, oh, well, I've shown pi to be a rational number or something like that. Okay, first I'd have to...
No, that's his argument. Yeah, he doesn't know what a rational number is.
Well, yeah, that's what I would ask. I'm like, do you understand what a transcendental number is? Do you know what a rational number is? Do you know what a Taylor series is? Because a pi can be calculated from a Taylor series. I don't remember the exact formula for it, but there's a Taylor series for pi. But if you don't know these terms, then you don't have the level and competency to do anything on the line of debunking, quote unquote.
Maybe
you can figure out.
Maybe he should talk to
by taking a
Landon
circle, cutting it into equal triangles, and then calculating the difference between all the triangles, and the number that you get ends up still being pi. I mean, you cannot debunk a ratio. He got really, really, really angry with me when I said to him that I don't think he knows what pi is, because I genuinely don't think he knows what pi is.
See, I also think they get confused by, like, for example, he said infinitely small. They don't seem to realize that infinitely small in math means zero, pretty much. Okay, yeah. So when you take it a differential, the differentials are they're almost like a hypothetical. I mean, this is not exactly the case. It's a heuristically way of thinking of it. But there's actually no size to a differential at the limit of zero. So when you're talking about these infinitely small measurements in the real numbers, dude, there's no infinitesimals in the reals. The Archimedean property doesn't allow for them. So I don't think he's understanding what it means to be like infinitesimally small, or what it means to be a ratio, or what it means to be a circumference. All these words are words to him that they don't seem to make sense. And so that's the problem. If they don't know how to do anything,
He's saying in the chat right now, infinitely small. How small? 0.125 millimeters. That shows that he's no idea what he's talking about.
Like it's basically this. It's like if you like have a plate, right, and measure the and just measure to the edge of the plate, and then measure the circumference of the plate using some kind of electron beams or something like that. You know, that's how my program does it. It just
Well, he doesn't know what a Taylor series is, that's for sure. Because
he says the Taylor series is the Taylor's account for curves.
No, he spelled it wrong anyways. But no, a Taylor series is a special type of Maclaurin series is a special type of Taylor series centered around 0. But a Taylor series is how you could figure out like E. If I want to calculate E, it's that one I do remember. It's E to the x equals summation of x to the n divided by n factorial. And you could just as many iterations you want. But if you do an infinite amount of iterations of the Taylor series, you're going to end up with the number E. But it's infinitely long. I mean, it's not an infinite number, but you cannot in finite time calculate E. You cannot in finite time calculate pi.
Why is he talking about the linguistics of the word circum?
Because he doesn't understand. He genuinely thinks if you measure a circumference, you can only measure the inner of the boundary that you draw. You cannot measure the outside of a circumference, because he's no fucking idea what a circumference is, what pi is, what a ratio is, or what maths even is.
So you think he actually is just dumb?
Yeah, I've been talking with him for a while, and I've watched his videos. He is one of the most confused individuals I have ever met.
So
he says that he's not a flat earther, but he says he's made the perfect North Hemisphere flat Earth map, which doesn't make sense. How can you have a Northern Hemisphere and a flat Earth map? But anyways,
you just say, "Hey, D-Real, do us a favor, go to college, take some math courses."
He's gonna get into college.
Okay, go to kindergarten, take some math courses.
Maybe he should just have a chat with Landon Knoll or something.
Landon and I have done math videos before, so I mean,
oh my god!
I have a video on average.
You are not. Those words don't go together to make sense.
No, he says, "What's the international average anticipated tolerance?" He doesn't have a tolerance. You fucking retard.
I know what words mean separately, but when you have the conjunction of all of them,
Anyway, what I'll do is I'll get to some of the super chats.
You use a mesh on a CAD program, and that will give you absolute 0 thickness to get the measurement of the outside of a circle.
True.
But according to him, you can only use the inside of the circle to calculate it, though. Fuck me.
That's kind of like what I'm doing. Essentially, what I do is I break the it's a little bit confusing to explain it, but what I do is I create a virtual line, or a whole lot of virtual lines that, when formed together, create a circle using the. Basically, I use the Pythagorean theorem to calculate a quarter diameter of a circle, and the diameter of a circle is 4 times that. Yeah, no use calculating the diameter of it.
You mean 4 quarters is 1? Okay.
Yeah, like
that's some hardcore math right there.
Yeah,
making me think here. I wasn't told math was going to be involved in this, so I didn't prepare.
Oh god, I would love to get this guy in to actually talk to us.
I just want to see him doing more concatenation of these words and putting them all together. And
I want to ask him the questions that we always ask flat earthers, because I don't think he'd know the internal angles when he can act a triangle.
Well, that's why I just don't think they're serious. I just can't imagine anybody being able to function in society being that naive. I mean, that can't be real.
Oh my god, he says CAD for pi uses 3.14281.
No, it's 3.1415926535897. I had to memorize like the 20th decimal place. Most of the time, for anything, you can use 3.14159 and you are done. You don't need it. Yeah. Most of the time, that is most precision you need for pi.
Yeah. Well,
and he says, what about the curve? What do you mean, what about the curve? Do you know how to...
Okay, does he know? Okay, I would love this. By the way,
I don't think he knows what a circle is, Steve.
I have yet to find a flurfer that knows what curve actually means. Right? They don't know what it means. I mean, in topology, curve is a very specific term, and if you don't know something like what's called like parallel transport to determine curve, you've never looked into what a curve actually is, because a parallel transport is one of the means you can use by using a topology to determine a curve. But for example, if I say to them, hey, like you take a cylinder, right? A cylinder has zero curvature to it. But wait a minute, no, you can go around it though, because it has zero curvature because of topology. A donut has actually flat curvature, has no curvature in the middle and a curvature in the end, so it's kind of a mix. But curvature is a very specific term, and they don't look into the science and the mathematics of this stuff, and they think they understand it, and they don't. That's why they've disproven everybody, right? They want to feel smarter than everybody, but it's like, oh look, I know more about pi than anybody, and everybody's had it wrong all these years for thousands of years. But I know pi is a finite number or something, or I know pi is not really transcendental. Okay,
Steve, take a deep breath. Steve, take a deep breath, because he's just said, and you should be sitting down as well, right? Isn't the curve longer than it's straight?
See, that's what I'm saying. You can't be serious, dude. There's no way. This guy has to be yanking your chain. Nobody's this dumb. Nobody.
Well,
you cannot be. It's not possible.
What I'm gonna.
You've met Anthony Riley, right?
Well, Riley's an exception. Riley is, yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to.
And I don't understand science.
I know, Riley. I know.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to move on to reading. Like, we've got Bella charged for $5 New Zealand said, "What up, fuckers?
What's up, Bella?
What up?
Bella, check your DM on Discord."
And Rama for 26 sextants. No, I don't know. Like, I don't really have a sextants. I know FTFE has one.
I'm glad. No, just stop. Please don't. Right, you're gonna need to promise me you're never gonna dance again. All right.
I cannot promise that.
I'm never gonna dance again the way I danced with.
Oh wait, I could do the I could do the what I did in the Flat Earth Rewind 2019 and do the Tobey Maguire dance. I mean, that's what I did. But anyway, Rama says FTFE tiny p. I think.
How did you know? That's a fucking secret.
I mean, yeah, like maybe video calls got leaked. FTFE.
Possibly.
Anyway, we'll move on to the next thing, because we do need to get through all the stupid that we've got today. This is actually a bit of intelligence here at the Capitol riots.
Oh, good.
So
thank you. The amount of dumb coming from that. I need something smart.
So vendors who would identify themselves only as nah and stop asking me questions before you get your ass kicked sell merchandise near the Capitol. I ain't into any of this shit, says Nah, but these stupid motherfuckers buying $100 sweatshirts are putting me through college.
Good boy. Good boy.
And those two poor kids are the reason that they're blaming it on Black Lives Matter now.
Probably, but I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't have thought of this, so props on them to actually thinking for something of like this.
Commercialization, capitalism. I'm all for this. Actually, believe it or not, they don't have to support Trump to make money off of it. I'm cool with that. Actually, this is actually shoe on the head, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like her. She's funny.
Yeah, like she's had some really good stuff lately. So, like the next thing is actually a Sean Head tweet, which is definitely some stupid from whoever made this. So,
I think it's hilarious, actually.
So yeah, whose idea was it to make this?
Americas. Americas. All you have to do is dip it in ranch dressing that has the United States written all over it.
You realize that every Italian person in the world just felt a disturbance in the force. Like they just got chest pains all at the same time. Oh my god! The same thing happened the first time someone put pineapple on. The very first time someone put pineapple on pizza, the largest spike in Italian deaths ever was recorded.
Okay, pineapple on pizza is the shit. It's delicious.
Get out! Get out!
I don't care.
It's not pizza. It's just Hawaiian flatbread.
I feel like
I'll eat it. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'm not a pineapple on pizza kind of guy.
I feel like I have enough. I feel like
a lasagna sandwich. Oh, I'd scarf this shit. You kidding?
I feel like I actually have enough people in this chat right now to be able to organise a debate about whether pineapple does belong on pizza or not. Because remember, Steve, I did try and get organise that with you at some point.
Yes, I do. I'm the anti-pineapple.
I can end the debate. I can end the debate right now. The answer is no, and anyone who disagrees with me will be shot when I take over.
Set the theme of
I have a nuanced take on that. By the way,
the gulag. Are you going to send us to the gulag with the communist Joe Biden?
What are you in for? What are you in for, man? Pineapple on pizza. Oh man, get the hell away from me, man! You stay away.
Anyway, the next bit of stupid was actually from me. Because
what did you do?
Stupid, or you found the stupid?
Oh, I did the stupid. I was staring at NSAIDs for a while and was thinking it was a different type of AIDS. Turns out it was non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Like no,
that's
stupid. Yeah,
and that's a true story.
True story. Like
funny.
I was looking at the thumbnail of a Professor Dave Explains video, which was talking about NSAIDs, and I was like, "Wait, is that a different type of AIDS?" Like after, like I eventually realized, wait a second, this is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. So, that was my dose of stupid for my stupid for the fortnight. I don't know if I have any more to come up with that are mine, but yeah.
Well, I made 5 spelling errors in my last video about Riley, so there's that.
As I was,
maybe you're being infected by JM.
For promotion at work, I spelled IEYE.
To be fair, I did listen to Riley non-stop for a week to make the video and then spend like 3 days non-stop editing. And the last thing I did was the classroom section with the writing. That was probably a mistake. My brain was pretty much mush at that point.
Fair enough. Like, I suppose you do get a pass. Maybe that's how we got JM Truth. Because JM Truth has a whole lot of qualifications. So he probably just listened to Riley for too long and then that managed to turn his brain to mush.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Well, Cav says that NSAIDs actually means NASA made super AIDS.
NASA made super AIDS. Can I speak to Karen in HR? Yeah, guys, they found out about the super AIDS. We're going to have to nix that project. Yeah, just let Bob know down in development that we'll start on the hyper COVID instead, all right? Yeah, cheers, guys. Sorry, I'm back. Did I not mute myself then? Oh, fuck, man, sorry.
Anyway, this next thing is PragerU.
What'd you say?
They went all mask off. We like slavery recently.
So, Eli Valley said, "Sorry, you lost so many Nazis galvanized by your videos." And then PragerU said, "Yes, Nazis just love Dennis Prager because Dennis Prager is Jewish, right?" But like, I mean, if they've lost so many Nazis, I don't fully know the context here.
So yeah, like Twitter is getting rid of like people who are very clearly white supremacists and Nazis and fascists, and American conservatives are considering the censorship, which is beyond stupid. It's
Oh
free
my God,
market
yeah.
capitalism. And 2, complaining that they're losing like thousands of followers. But the question would be, why do you have thousands of people following you that are white supremacists, Nazis, and fascists?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
doesn't
find
matter.
People don't understand what people don't understand about Twitter and YouTube and pretty much any other social network is that they're a private company and freedom of speech doesn't exist. You don't have the right to say whatever you want. When you sign up for your account, you tick a little box that says, I agree to the terms and conditions of this site. Therefore, they have the right to say, no, we're not having that on our site. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It's not fucking censorship. It's you not following rules and facing the consequences.
exactly.
Yeah, I hate when people throw around the First Amendment like they don't understand what it actually involves. They just don't.
The opposite of this would be you want the government to tell a private company that they have to promote a certain viewpoint regardless of whether or not it hurts their bottom line, which is a
essentially,
lot closer to communism.
essentially, when it comes,
Go ahead.
when it comes down to it, it's one of those things that these private companies are beholden to advertisers, right? And if they want advertisers, like that's why Twitch is so draconian on their site. It's because they've got to appease the advertisers, and if they don't appease the advertisers, then the advertisers bugger off. So they've got to have these really stringent enforcement of rules on their site. Now, do I agree with some of these rules? Not all the time, right? Sometimes I do. Like, I agree with the whole thing of YouTube not promoting anti-science videos or misinformation videos, and I do think that Twitter absolutely should say, well, this is factually incorrect. When a tweet is being made, and I like the Twitter's way of going about it, where you can still view it. It's just got this being fact check little thing.
My personal favorite is when like prominent talking heads go onto other social media platforms to talk and bitch about how they're being censored. And I just want to be like, you're being censored. Do you honestly think you would be able to talk about being censored?
And I understand the advertisement angle. I get that. And I do think that obviously they have to have a responsibility to shareholders and they have to have ad revenue. But I was impressed, for example, when Twitter just made the decision to ban Trump. They lost a huge amount of revenue. That had 73 million, followers. That's a lot of impressions and stuff like that. So they did, decide that, hey, look, we have to do something here, and plus to put that ahead of the revenue. But they're as a private organization, even though people have argued, are they a public utility? Are they a publisher? Which, by the way, they're not. But I when anybody says, look, I'm being censored because I don't have Twitter, I'm sorry, that's not part of your constitutional rights. It's just not. You want to exercise your First Amendment rights, go down to Speaker's Corner and start preaching to people, and if anybody screws with you, then they're violating your rights, okay?
Like, call us when Congress says that you can't tweet something. Until then,
Yes.
go join what's the Telegram, whatever the one that all the terrorists are on.
What the thing is, it's okay to say whatever you want, right? But you have to understand that means that you have to face the consequences of whatever you say.
Yeah.
Right. Free speech does not mean free of consequence.
Yeah,
And it's also not the right to an audience or a platform or a microphone or any of that shit.
You're right. Absolutely.
Oh, I love it because people are like, well, Steve, you delete comments. I'm like, yeah, of course I freaking do, man. I moderate my channel because I don't like fucking idiots coming over and spamming the shit out of it. Yeah, of course. I want higher quality content. Yes, of course I'm going to moderate it because I'm not an idiot.
Not only that, Steve, but as the channel owner, you are responsible for the comments on your channel. So if someone puts a comment on there that completely goes against YouTube terms of services, it can get your channel deleted.
I filter all my comments. I mean, there's certain people that I automatically approve. You can set up for that, but I have it all filtered. But it's funny because people are like, well, you're censoring me. I'm like, go somewhere else with that because I'm not even addressed. You're gone. You're done.
Yeah.
I'm not even addressed.
Steve McRae is now the government.
Right? Yeah, I'm censoring your ability to go on your own goddamn platform and bitch how you had a comment removed. Knock yourself out. I have no power over that. Do your thing.
All right. The next thing that we've got here is just someone that doesn't understand this stuff. So this person on Facebook said, the problem with this transgender stuff is there is no going back. Space, comma. If I want to be a Christian and 10 years later I change my mind, capital M for some reason, and decide it is a load of rubbish, I can. If I want to be gay, capital G, gay, or hetero, and 10 years later I change my mind, then I can. But if you allow children to stir it down this path at, say, 13 or 14, and 10 years later they want to change their mind, too late, wrong too, buddy or girly, you stuck with that for the rest of your life. No full stop. So, ignoring all the... so essentially this was about trans people, like a survey done saying that trans people shouldn't apparently in New Zealand there's a lot of people that don't think that puberty blockers should be assigned to people that are 13 or 14. My opinion on this, right, is that puberty blockers should be allowed for people that are young and decide that they if you decide that they've got gender dysphoria or something like that. The reason why is because, as far as I can tell, puberty blockers just delay puberty. Right? Am I missing something here?
I honestly don't know enough about it.
I don't know, but I would say I don't know what they think that a 13 or 14-year-old just kind of makes that decision on a lark. Like, oh hey, I think today will be a fun day to go through gender realignment.
I've said long ago, look, this is the way it needs to be. You have the parents involved, and you have a panel of experts on a medical review board that have psychologists, psychiatrists, and MDs, and they're the ones that make these decisions. Period. That's why we give them the empowerment to do these things.
Yeah.
It's a medical
thing. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I'm sorry, but none of us have any kind of medical degrees. We're not in a position to tell a 13-year-old whether it should be for them or not, if it's psychologically better for them, if it's biologically better. We don't know, and it's not our decision to make. It is the parents, it is their doctors, and it needs to stay the fuck that way.
Yeah.
Period. Between that, that's it. And if the doctors say, "Look, this 13-year-old, I don't think they're psychologically equipped for this. I think they're going through a phase." Let them make those decisions. That's why we allow them to do so.
I have a problem with it.
What is wrong with that?
One demonstrable harm that comes from being from someone else being trans or someone else being gay.
I wouldn't say there's any demonstrable harm. Okay, but to play devil's advocate for just a second, I don't have any problems with trans or anything. However, I have read about someone who had the gender reassignment surgery at a very young age and everything, and then very much regretted it.
Right,
and felt that they actually took their doctors and stuff to court because they felt that they shouldn't have given them that choice to change the gender.
That's rare. It does happen, but again, the doctors have no liability there. But you can't. Okay, the problem is that people want nice, tidy, one size fit all things.
Yeah,
and they don't exist. It's just idealism to an extreme. So everything is a case by case basis. And I don't see the problem if people just let the doctors and the parents and the children and all of them get together and they make these decisions. That's it. It's nobody else's fucking business.
Yeah, mind your own business and your own reproductive organs. As a woman, I can fully say that it is super annoying when people try to tell you what to do with your fucking reproductive organs. So just mind your own damn business. It doesn't harm you.
I have a question kind of related to transgenderism. Okay, my wife watches RuPaul's Drag Race, right? And one of the contestants on the new series is a transgender woman that became a man who's now on a show about pretending to be a woman. Isn't that cheating?
That is really that is really strange to me, honestly.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, if that's what you want to do. But I just feel like that's a little bit like cheating because you've got first-hand experience.
Yeah, it's hard to say there. I suppose it's more about their aesthetic at that point,
I think again, I've always been a longtime supporter of the trans community and the gay community and all this stuff. And the one thing I have noticed, and I think this is the worst possible thing for any group, is that there are people in that group that shut down communication. And there are people that are outside that group that shut down communication, that are not able to have these very nuanced, very emotionally charged discussions. And that's a shame. And that's one of the problems I think that you have. And when you're talking about certain topics like this, they're so emotionally charged. And if you cannot disassociate those emotions from the objective facts of the matters and try to come to some kind of solution, you're never going to have any resolution on these things. I mean, look how long the abortion debate has been going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so politically charged. Yeah, but there are conversations to be had, and those conversations are not being taken place because you have certain people say, look, it's this way or nothing. It's black and white fallacy, and I'm sorry, no group is going to have 100% what they want. It's just welcome to reality.
Yeah,
and there's just no give and take.
Someone
in the chat raises a good point. Obviously, again, I completely support LGBTQ+, but there is points that make sense. Like Seth Paul says, that people complain about men becoming women and then competing in women's sports. Is that fair?
Well, there's a whole that's why I actually think that's why I think that we should categorize sports in a different way, like rather than just male and female. But I also think that if we want to, let's say we decide, okay, let's just keep the male and female things, then allow people to start transition, to allow people that are 13, 14 to have puberty blockers, because that is one huge thing.
I just want to transition. I'm a man now, but I want to become a real man, according to some people. But O'Hara says like 13 and 14-year-olds are not equipped to make these decisions on their own, which is that's the point. There's never been in the history a 13-year-old or 14-year-old who's made this decision on their own. No, that doesn't happen, right? That's the point. They get their family involved, the parents involved, the doctors involved. They don't make no 13-year-old is able to say, yeah, I want this done, and it happens. It's impossible. 13,
14-year-olds aren't going to be like, hey, mummy, can I be like, let's say it's a boy. Can I be a girl? I want to be a woman. Then some of them may say that jokingly, but most of them they won't just come out with that one day. It's more that it's just going to be a case of at least they don't feel right in their body, and then they'll have a psychiatrist look at them.
Yeah, it would be a mental transition, like through your childhood, that you're seeing things and you're noticing things and you're seeking treatment and things are coming to light, and then you sit down and have the conversation with the medical community and the parents and the kid, and then that decision remains private, and everybody else can get the fuck out of their business.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
In fact, one of the things this is tangentially related. One of the things I saw recently on Twitter was a clip of Keemstar going around saying about pronouns in the bio. It was bad. It was a bad take. I didn't decide to include this clip in this stream because it takes ages to get to the point. But I think that pronouns in your bio is very useful, right? In fact, I'm probably. After the stream, I'll go and put pronouns in my bio. In fact,
I only think it's useful if there's ambiguous. I mean, there are certain people you're like, it's okay if it's not, there's no ambiguity here. If your name is like Mr. Magoo and you have he, him, what's the point? Okay, it's like you already. If you look, if it's a picture of a man, then there's no really point to that. I mean, I see putting bios or pronouns in the bio if there's some ambiguity to be had there. If not, then why bother? Like,
Or
do I
if
need
it
to put?
bothers you. If you have a preference and it bothers you that if somebody gets it wrong, then
Why would they get it wrong?
Right?
Why is it? I've never. Nobody's ever got my pronouns wrong. Do I need to put my pronouns in my bio? Because I don't think it's an issue.
I think it's more.
I don't care if you call me a
Although
fucking
with my hair, I guess maybe with my hair.
I think
it
it's,
doesn't.
Well,
It doesn't
yeah,
matter what you call
isn't
me.
your pronoun wizard though?
Yeah, Gandalf. My pronoun's Gandalf.
I think it's more of a case of just normalizing it because there's so many people that are just like, oh, your opinion doesn't matter because you've got pronouns in the bio, and it's like, if you,
No, I hate that. That's stupid. Yeah, that's just.
and so I think that if we normalize it, then it's probably a good thing, you know. And so
Like, what's your bio going to say? He, him, not gender fluid, because you know, because
well, my
I can see confusion there.
I'm gonna have my bio say when it comes to pronouns, I'm gonna be like, pronouns, whatever you choose, right? Because like I don't give. I have said I don't give a fuck if you call me a he, her, they, them, zer.
Call me. Yeah, I'm the same way. If somebody wants to call me a her, I'm like, I don't care. I don't understand it, but knock yourself out. It doesn't have any effect on me whatsoever. But I can understand why it would be with trans people. Obviously, that's I think a lot of people obviously use it as weapons, which is fine. I find to be so more.
And respecting the desire of trans people to like be labeled as they want to be labeled. It's no skin off of of anyone's back to say like, oh hey, how do you want me to refer to you? Or
but
what's
that's why I think the bio's fine. But for myself, I'm sorry, there's no ambiguity there. People can look at me and go, that's. Yeah, I never presented myself.
Whatever you say, man. Whatever you say.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're
supposed to say yes, dear, or babe, or what do they call? I don't know. What's a good female gender thing that people get called?
Chick, bitch, twat, I could keep going.
Well, those are not really endearing, but yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, when it comes to, I find that a really useful thing though, when it comes to everything, is to just try and default to they them pronouns, because when you default to they them pronouns, like I can say, oh, I have, I can say, oh, I have a friend that I sometimes visit, and they're a cool friend, right? And, or if I say that I have a friend that I hang out with a lot and they're a cool friend, right? A lot of people will go, well, not associate it with a particular, them with a particular gender, right? And they won't think, because this friend might be a girl, right? Then immediately they think, when it's a girl, they think, oh, I see that you're sleeping with them, or something like that. And it's like,
they actually look and go, wait, you have female friends? Get out of here. Stop.
Wait,
seriously, I don't have a problem with them. I don't particularly use those because I find them to be grammatically in reality, and you cannot prescriptively tell people what to use. I'm sorry, that has never, in the history of human language, has ever been prescriptively changed. It doesn't work that way. So what I do is I use a person's first name, right? Because because I mean, sorry, you can't bitch if somebody uses your first name, if whatever name you go by, right? I mean, not your dead name, but whatever name they go by, use that. Then you don't need to use a pronouns, right? And I'm fine with that, right? But if somebody's comfortable with they them, that's absolutely fine. I got no issue with that. But I find it a lot of people. And it's really, it really sucks because it makes the trans community look poor is when they use these types of things as weapons. Oh, you didn't say they them. You used my first name. Well, there's nothing wrong with using your first name. I'm sorry.
You can't make people, particularly of like older generations, afraid to want to like discuss this issue with you.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. You're just alienating people at that point.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I do think that it will be a good time to move on because we've got some really good stupid coming up right here.
Promises.
This screenshot is real. I'm not joking. The screenshot is real.
Okay, I'm preparing myself.
Deep breaths.
Dear President Trump, please grant a pardon for Kent and Joe Hovid in the totally unjust 2006 case. Also, please investigate why it's taken 7 months for the Northern District of Florida to simply process his claim and issue the subpoenas. These typically take 2 days for the clerk to process. The claim is posted on the stupid website. Thank you for your prompt attention to this matter. I mean,
That didn't happen.
If they didn't pardon Tiger King, they're not going to fucking pardon
or QAnon shaman.
Yeah.
Shaman.
But
He did part.
the thing is, like, just real quick, I want to say, like, I didn't know if this was real, so I actually went to the video, checked it, and it's real. Like, that's the hilarious thing about this.
Do you know how many of those Capitol protesters honestly thought Trump was going to pardon them? And I'm like, God, you guys got
The one lady. Okay, first of all, her name's Jenna Ryan from Texas, and her during her live stream, you can hear her go. You can hear her say, "I don't need a history textbook. I have the internet," which in and of itself is terrifying. But then they interviewed her later, and she was like, "I just feel really wronged. Like I was just doing what my president told me, and I'm the wronged party here, and he should give me a pardon."
Yeah, they're the victim.
Her poor fucking defense attorney, like,
oh God,
that woman just went on TV and like told the entire world that she's guilty, because why else would you need a pardon?
But that is okay. First of all, in order to get a pardon, you have to be guilty. But yeah, you're right. So on a federal level, right? Only the federal. But the weirdest part is they actually were running the defense, and this would not fly. I'm sorry, it's not going to fly. But a lot of them are running the defense. Well, our president said he wanted us to come to the Capitol. He'd be walking down the streets with us. I don't remember I don't remember saying, "Hey, break into Nancy Pelosi's office and steal her mail." Maybe I missed that part. But so they're trying
photos of the speaker's like binder on the floor.
Yeah.
You hear them saying like, "Oh, Cruz and Holly would want us to do this."
Yeah,
and
they made that story up in their head. They made this whole fictitious narrative in their head that Trump had called among the grassroots people to come fight for him. And yes, his language was intentional. His language was meant to do that. There's no question about that. That's why he was impeached.
They LARPed the storming of the Bastille. Yes. Like, it was,
exactly.
And they thought the guy that claimed bones first to get out of Vietnam was going to be their fearless leader.
There's a lot of problems with their understanding this. There's some issues there.
Yeah.
So they have to fight on for freedom. It's like, oh my gosh, like you wouldn't have wanted to live back then anyway. It was horrible. Just be thankful you didn't have to be in the revolution.
Yeah. The main guy that was leading the charge, the stupid guy wearing the horns and that at the Capitol. He's saying that his defense of all this is that he was duped by Trump.
Yeah, I'm serious, right? Exactly.
Yeah, he says, "I felt like I was invited into the Capitol by the president. Why shouldn't I be able to go there?"
I'm sorry, that's not going to fly.
And he requested an all organic diet from the prison that he's.
Oh yeah, he went on a hunger strike, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, his mother called the jail and said that he will get very sick if he doesn't eat all organic food. So you have to feed him organic food. And if you ever need a case for why Black Lives Matter is a legitimate protest.
Look, if I ever go to jail, all I can eat is steak and lobster.
Absolutely.
Religious reasons.
100%. I only am allowed to eat caviar. My shaman told me.
And Mark Baser, I like vanilla ISIS. I prefer Y'all Qaeda when referring to
Y'all Qaeda.
But here's the thing, Hovind just wants attention, right? That's all he is. He is the ultimate con man. I don't think even Hovind believes his bullshit any longer. He may at one time, but at this point, it's all about him. He doesn't give a shit about anything else. It's how can he use these things to get the focus on him? That's all he is. He's a con man.
They're grifters.
Although, to be fair, I do.
Why don't we ask Kent? Why don't we ask Kent how he feels?
I'm not prepared for that.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Wasn't that during a debate on evolution?
Yeah, with conspiracy cats.
Conspiracy cats, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant debate. One of there was something that I was going to say, but I can't remember it. Anyway, we'll go to the next thing, which is it's from Cursed Conspiraboomer Images, but it's like someone say that it's blessed, a blessed.
Captain Red Pill or whatever his no.
No, it's Seek Truth, Speak Truth. So
Yeah, good man.
So yeah, like
ex-flat earther.
Yeah. So some people were a bit confused about this because it starts with him saying top proof we are on a spinning ball, 100% unrefutable proof of a flat Earth, and it's like flat Earth, the ball is dead. It's flat, guys. It's flat.
With a propeller head like that, you figure he eats organic to avoid what they put in the regular food.
Robert.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, like, you know, like, it annoys me when people like Nurthen Thurmpson say, once you go flat, you never go back. This guy here is living proof that that's just false.
Why do I have an entire playlist on my channel called Interviews with Ex-Flat Earthers? Like, my first video on my channel to get over 100,000 views was an interview with an ex-Flat Earther. He didn't go back. It's a lie.
Yeah.
Maybe once you get irreparable brain damage, you can't go back. But,
I'm sorry. I thought that Flat Earth had basically had the death nail when they had that $20,000 interferometer. That
thanks,
proved that the Earth. Yeah, thanks, Bob. That the Earth was, round. I mean, at that point, how could you get out of that? It was like their own instrumentation that they spent tens of thousands of dollars of their actual money on showed a 15-degree drift.
Didn't you hear? Bob said it himself. It was obviously the heaven energies.
Clearly. I emailed him that and said, dude, it's the heavenly energies. It's flat.
I'll tell you what, let's ask Nurthen Thurmpson what he thinks.
Hey guys, you want to hear a funny story while we're all chatting, dude? I'm dating a first grader.
Nurthen, that's not appropriate. Sorry guys, my bad. I didn't know he was going to say that.
But yeah, I think that what they do is they look at... I think that people like Nurthen, what they do is they look at the grifters. Because the grifters, they're not going to change their mind. Like Nurthen Oakley, he's not going to be like... he's not going to say, it's a globe. He's never going to say that.
No.
Even though I'm convinced that he knows that it's a globe.
What he is going to say, however, is that he wants to put his testicles in my mouth, which when I went on his channel to fuck with him, he said at least 37 times. And when I asked him for a debate on a neutral platform, he said, sure, as long as you come here, suck my dick, and look me in the eyes whilst you do it.
Well, I mean, eye contact really does make the difference.
Yeah, I know.
It adds an extra element of connection. And
the thing is, looking at him though, I get the impression that it's more like a Ken doll down there, just like smooth and nothing.
Nothing. Where the legs come together.
Yeah.
What I'd do is I'd say, okay, yeah, Nurthen, I will come over and suck your dick. As long as we do it outside and I have a magnifying glass so that I can actually see it.
With the pandemic, most people would take you up on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip that, right? I'm adding that to my soundboard, right?
Now, what convinced this guy? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
Conspiracy cats.
No, but what was the actual data, though? What was the actual data? And what did they looked at and said, yeah, I can't refute this?
Well, basically, Conspiracy Cats explained to him how he was wrong about his interpretation of the Coriolis force and what gravity should be. And like a sensible person, he listened and went, you know what? You're actually kind of right.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I got to respect that, man.
Yeah.
It was full credit to Conspiracy Cats because the way that he did it was almost, that video is one of my favorites because anybody, even who've got zero knowledge of science, can watch that video Conspiracy Cats did and understand the things that he is saying.
Oh, he did a really good job. Yeah,
it was so good that he went, wow, I'm a fucking idiot. You're right. So yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a skill. I mean, look, I have tried to break things down to a literally a kindergarten level, and it's still. But I told you before, there are only two people I remember that actually did leave flat earthers. But the first one, his name was Jamal Williams. He's still a fundamental evangelical, from what I understand. But he was I think he's still a young earther, maybe. But he was the whole spectrum at the time, and he was a flat earther. But Red's Rhetoric, myself, and a few other people, when he started looking at the celestial poles and where you can see stars and where you can't see stars, and it kind of clicked with him, and he's like, "Oh shit, you're right. I can't refute this. This is okay. You're right. Okay." And he is like in real time. He's like done with it.
Yeah.
So it can happen, but if again somebody has to go. Yeah, there's just no way I can wrap my head around this to the point where I can find even a plausible explanation of what it would be if the Earth was flat. It's just not. So they have to have all these ad hoc explanations, and if they stop having ad hoc, then they're like, yeah, okay, this is what I see. This is what we would see on a round Earth. Oh, hey, guess what? They match.
Mm. Anyway, I do have to move on to the next one because we do have a lot to get through. So here's something that I think came from like a right-wing source. This person saying, "I want abortion on demand. I want free contraception. I want porn, and I want everyone to respect women."
But he's acting like they're mutually exclusive. They aren't mutually exclusive. Why can't you have pornography, contraception, abortion on demand, and still have respect for women?
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand why.
The person who drew this cartoon didn't think to draw it as a woman saying those things. Is pretty damn amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes I've known women that definitely want porn.
Well, okay. Here's my take on this. Look. Porn is every feminist should support porn. The reason being is that is a woman's choice. You cannot say, "Hey, I'm against porn because it's degrading to women," blah blah, and then say that the woman who decided to do this because it's their choice is somehow wrong for making a decision on their own.
Yeah, and I agree.
Now, I'm not talking about all types of porn. I mean, obviously, there's things out there that is obviously that it wasn't. Clearly wasn't consensual or it's coercion and things of that nature. I get that, but I'm just talking about your normal porn. And
the implied notion here is that you can't respect a woman if she has had an abortion, you can't respect a woman if she's had contraception, or you can't respect a woman if she has been in porn. Like those aren't mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
things.
100%.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. It is kind of weird though. It's like how can somebody claim to be a feminist and be against prostitution?
They're not, there's so many different strains of feminists. I don't even know what strain I am.
I agree. I hate the term any longer. I don't identify as a feminist because I think the term has been.
I would say that from common sense standpoint, I think prostitution should be legal just because.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But isn't that the ultimate in a woman's choice?
Yes, in some cases, you get into gray areas when you talk about if they get hooked into it by boyfriends or
crack whore. Yeah, I'm not.
I mean, look, when you look at it, I would. When you look at prostitution historically, it actually came from a place of women having power. It was the only job they could really get. So they did, and then they made so much money that they put back into their community that they actually ended up in positions of power and authority and improved the lives of everyone there. So, I mean, what's wrong with that? And the women wanted to do it.
And a lot of them were actually more revered.
I don't think it's a coincidence that they then outlawed it,
No. Yeah.
Women,
but in the higher places, the women they were revered. They were held on a very high pedestal. And again, we're not talking about the podunk salon, backwards kind of stuff. But in the bigger cities and stuff like that, they were treated very well. And like they said, they saved their money. They became people of political power, and they made change.
Yeah.
Trust me, as someone who previously worked in childcare, it has not crossed my mind that I could make a lot more money as a prostitute.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I thought you were going to say, as someone who's previously worked in prostitution, I'm glad it didn't go that way.
If I could make $1.50 at it,
I give it away for free, fight. Come on.
All right.
I can't even give it away. So at least you're fortunate.
Yeah. Like when it comes to sex work, like sex work is real work, is my opinion. Like if
I'd be the cheapest prostitute in the world, though, man. I'd be undercutting everybody. I need the money.
there was something else I was going to add to the. About the fully legalizing prostitution is a good thing. Like it actually, there's Philosophy Tube made a great video on sex work, right? And basically he said that places like New Zealand that fully make prostitution legal, right? They it's much safer for the prostitutes.
Yes, it's regulated as taxed. They're safer.
It's tested.
Yeah. And
I mean, there is one legal, brothel in America that I read about where the agreement is that the women have to be tested regularly and it's regulated and and that if that's the case then it should be fine, right? If the women want to do that, I mean, I imagine women can make a fucking killing doing it,
Yeah,
I think Nevada is the only place it's legal here. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Nevada, the Bunny Ranch area. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that I was reading about.
Mm-hmm.
Because people don't like pimping, or people generally have a bad sort of initial reaction to pimping because they think that they immediately think, pimping means that someone's making basically extorting a woman for basically making her sell her body so that the pimp can make money. And in some cases that is the case, and that is bad there. Mm-hmm. But in other cases it's where it's a organization that takes the organization takes a cut of the money, but at the same time they also provide protection. Allow for
it's a transactional relationship.
Yeah, it's no different than if you were to work at McDonald's, really, and
how many people in this chat have worked at McDonald's?
Except that in prostitution, the word "supersize" means something completely different.
Ball.
Plainer walk. We can't rent you.
I mean,
no, I've got him on retainer. No one else gets him.
Anyway, we'll go to the next thing.
Yeah, Plainer walk. You could probably make some bank at that. You kind of have the look and the accent. Make some money. Have you tried? Give it a shot, man.
Accidentally say dick all the time.
It would work better. Being honest, it would probably work better overseas than in New Zealand because everyone's used to the accent.
I mean, I got it on soundboard. I'll suck your dick. I'll play it for people and see if it's working. How much you pay for this?
Oh, so much. Listen to that voice.
Anyway,
he wants to do what to my deck?
Anyway, Karen time!
Yay!
And so we've got...
you still out do these on YouTube? Because, God, YouTube just hates Karen videos for some reason.
So I don't know anything about the context here, so hopefully he doesn't say the N-word or anything like that.
It's America, you never know.
Because that is always a chance.
Well, it's already on YouTube, so it can't be that bad.
I mean, true, yeah. So let's see what this anti-mask Karen has to say. Oh wait, is there echo or because I'm
no, I hear it.
That's fine.
Oh wait, I'll just check to see if because if you can't hear this, then yeah. Let me know if you can or can't hear it.
I can find it. Yeah, it's fine.
No, I can hear it.
I can hear him.
Okay, cool.
All right, man. I'd like 2 slices of cheese pizza. I'm wearing the mask right here. No, we're not doing that right now. I need 2 slices of cheese pizza. Okay.
I'd be like, nah, you get nothing.
You get nothing, and you like it.
You get a piece of of COVID pizza.
See, here's the thing, though, and this is what I don't understand with these jackasses. In a private company, they can enforce these things.
Yeah.
Now, in a public, it's different. It depends.
They do not understand the difference from a legal perspective between public and public stream of commerce. If you are giving public accommodations, you are not a public place. You are in the public stream of commerce. And the only reason they can't deny you service is race, religion, national origin. Sometimes gender.
Federal protected classes.
Yeah.
Being an activist dumbass is not protected.
Right.
No. Nor is having a disability. The ADA only states that you have to have reasonable accommodations. So as long as there is some way to accommodate reasonably your whatever pretend disability you want to say you have, then you're shit out of luck.
Right. You know, that's the thing. The stores are doing reasonable accommodation. They are. Offer to give you a mask. They will have some stores.
They will shopping for you.
Or you can fucking order online. You can do click and collect. There are many accommodations. But none of those accommodations have to be you putting other people's lives in danger.
And that is a brilliant point because for the ADA, you're exactly right. Obviously, you've done some HR stuff. If they have a reasonable accommodation, then you are shit out of luck. So if they say, hey, we understand you have a medical condition, you give us the list, we will find all this stuff for you and accommodate you that way and do your shopping for you, that is a reasonable accommodation. You are fucked. You're not going to go and sue them for not allowing you to go in without a mask. I'm sorry. That is not how any of this works.
And HIPAA does not have anything to do when they're like, well, you can't do that because
HIPAA. I love when they're taught HIPAA. I was watching one video and the cop was like, well, HIPAA, that's for insurance. And they're like, what?
I covered one video and the guy was like, well, I've got HIPAA. It's protected in the Constitution. Like, you fucking what now?
Oh my God. The Americans, you have to stop using Constitution. You can't just say, I can do this because Constitution. That's not how the law works any more than I can say, I can perform surgery because spleen. Like, that's not how it works.
And worse, it's funny because, like, for example, like freedom of speech, people say you have a right to freedom of speech, but that's not actually a right. It's ccalled a liberty.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a right and a liberty, and what we call rights out of common parlance are actually liberties. It's just the English language is confusing. But when we talk about having the right to free speech, it's actually not a right. It is a liberty that's been enumerated in the Constitution. But rights are, like you had pointed out, right against discrimination for sex, for gender, for
the protected classes.
Those are rights. Yes, civil rights, exactly. And a lot of people don't understand those differences unless you and I understand unless you look up legal stuff or unless you're in HR. I've worked obviously I did retail for 20 years. I'm intimately familiar with dealing with HR stuff. So they're not going to understand the differences. But when you have these dipshit Karens that go in and thinking that they understand, there's no law saying, it's only a guideline, blah, blah, blah. It's a private business.
I am $140,000 in debt because I wanted to know the law. So do not pretend that you know what you're talking about when you speak of the Constitution. To me, like, it just
what the fuck is wrong with America? We're getting an education cost that much.
Wait, are you a lawyer?
I am not a lawyer. I have a master's degree in jurisprudence.
Oh, awesome! No, okay, so yeah, it sounded like you knew your shit.
Does anybody else want to see a debate between her and Sleeping Warrior? Because I do.
You know what's funny?
Yes.
I would love to do that because I'm soul crushing debt. I will never own a house. I will never be able to retire ever for as long as I live because I wanted to know what the law is.
So being smart is expensive.
Right.
But here's the thing. Here's the funniest part. Because I do think there's some objective things about reality and objective facts, and I like objectivity. But you notice how when somebody actually knows a topic, people that know a little bit about it can say, "Hey, look, this person actually knows something about it." Then you have people like that person talking about pie, who you can say objectively, this person doesn't know fuck all what they're talking about. And I like that. I like to be able to differentiate between the people that don't know fuck all about a topic and the people that, oh shit, there's this person actually knows something about this. I like that.
Yeah, the ones that usually don't know about the topic are the ones that go, I know all about that topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right?
They are the people that I refer to as the top lefters because they live on the peak of Mount Stupid at the top left of the Dunning-Kruger chart. Whereas I've studied physics, so you know what? I know how very little I fucking know about physics.
Just a second. I do want to, because I've actually got a video that I've got to record sometime within the next couple of days on someone that made a response to my video, responding to a flat Earth anti-mask Karen that was on Nathan's channel. So
double whammy.
Like
double whammy of verb right there.
Yeah, like they've got a few points I'm not sure how to respond to, and I will have to I will have to get some clarification on it.
Let's do it. But Jane might be interested.
Just to name Riley, so I'll be back.
Just a name drop, Jane. I'm proud of this. I actually knew John Rawls' daughter, Elizabeth Rawls.
Oh, I love John Rawls. He was my favorite. This is going to go so nerdy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so deep nerdy here. He was my favorite legal philosopher that we studied.
Yeah, and she was wonderful. She dropped off the planet. I don't know if she's even still alive, but she did not want to like misrepresent her dad, so she didn't like talking about his work a lot. But we still had our discussions on it and stuff like that. Because he literally, and when I say he wrote the book on the theory of justice, he
did
wrote the book on the theory of justice. It's like it's still required reading.
And yes, rabbits, I have to say that I have also considered carrying around a spray bottle, only I would put bleach instead of water and spray them if they got too close.
I just realized.
I should get your advice on my lawsuit. As you probably know, I'm involved in a very massive lawsuit, but I'm the plaintiff, so it's always if going to be in a lawsuit, always better to be the plaintiff. Just FYI.
Right?
Yeah. Just Bella Charge for $2 New Zealand said the ones that don't know are the loudest, and that's exactly right.
That's only because I've been locked in my apartment for 10 months. As soon as I can get out there and start yelling back, I promise to scream louder than them.
That's always
get it on video.
Real quick, I don't know if I've said thank you to all the super chatters because I've had quite a few super chats tonight or this morning.
What's your usual viewing audience? That's out of curiosity. I'm just curious.
Usually it's somewhere between 50 and 80 people. So this is higher than normal. Oh. Yeah.
I posted it to everyone in my Discord and posted it on my community page. I hope that helps.
The Flat Earth has he actually has a following. I don't know why. He has a following.
My mom is watching.
Hi, Mom.
So just real quick, someone said...
I can't curse. I feel bad about cursing if your mom's watching.
Oh, fuck it. Where do you think I learned it from?
Real quick, someone in the chat said you use Tabasco mixed with water, and I've actually got Tabasco pepper sauce here. So
Tabasco mixed with water. Wait, what?
Wait, what? Yeah, what are you using it for?
We're going to put them in bottles to shoot the anti-maskers with if they get
that'd be fun.
Okay, so back to this video. What happens to this guy?
Okay, firstly, I just want to say that when you go into a shop, most shops will have a thing that says you're not allowed to come in if you don't wear pants. All right, you got to be wearing pants just because you put
no shirt, no shoes, no service.
So I'm just going to wrap the pants around my my arm and say that I'm wearing them.
Yeah,
and they're perfectly allowed to have that. By the way, that is perfectly legal. I'm sorry, it's not a protective class. It's not a right.
Yeah. Now, I do understand that sometimes regulations can be viewed as discriminatory to homeless people, right? Like, but at the same time, homeless people probably have clothing that they can put on, above their
So reasonable accommodations, you give them a bags of tape around their waist or something. I mean, again, I don't see too many homeless people walking around with no pants. I don't.
Yeah.
It generally doesn't really happen. It's something that's common.
No, it's usually the people that live in houses that walk around without pants, right?
And I'm sure
right now.
And I'm sure when they have no sock, no shirt, no shoes, no service, it's not for the homeless. It is literally for sanitary reasons.
Yeah, like you know, like.
And accidents, because if you walk around no shoes,
and
they
also,
can be sued.
And also,
nobody wants.
What's that?
I said decency. Nobody wants to see it. Like the dick pics, dicks. Nobody wants.
I'm telling you right now, every guy out there, never send a dick pic. Nobody wants to see it. I'm telling you this, man.
No problem.
Why'd you send me so many?
You asked. If that's, by the way, that's not. If they're asked, it isn't unsolicited.
I was curious just once, like a year and a half ago. And every day, 4 o'clock.
That's shit out of you, right? Yeah, you're still going, God damn. But no, I've never understood that. I have a lot of female friends that have told me how many dick pics they've gotten in years. I'm like,
no girl has ever been on the fence about going out with you or going to dinner, and then you send her an unsolicited dick pic, and her response is, "Well, I wasn't going to, but that picture of your junk."
Exactly. Yeah, hey, we're on for tonight, right? You know, it's funny. True story. I actually remember saying, "Hey, I've never gotten an unsolicited dick pic." The very next day, got an unsolicited dick pic. I'm like, "Oh, good, yay!" Yeah. So somebody paid attention to me. Thank you for that.
It's like,
however, it's the other way around though. If a woman sends a guy's picture of boobs, they're like, yes, more please.
Yeah,
different. Everybody loves
shit like that, unless
everybody loves.
I'm just going to take a picture of my tits and send it to some random dude.
But I feel like guys think that when they send a dick pic, it's like, can I have one sex, please? Can I have one sex, please? And they send a dick pic.
I think it's funny. Like there was one guy he sent like 12 dick pics. Didn't get any responses, and then like it's like what do you think at the 11th that all of a sudden they're going to go, oh, okay.
You know what? Those first 11, I wasn't sure, but that angle on the 12th, poor boy.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll continue with the Karen video.
Yeah. Why can't you serve me? Dude, I'm not putting on. I got the fucking mask on right now. I got it on right now. What is this shit?
It's not covering the part that it's supposed to cover. It's supposed to cover your mouth and nose. Just like if you were wearing a mask over only over your mouth, I would also think that, they can refuse service to you because it's not over the appropriate part.
Correct. If you're not covering your noses, we call people that don't cover their noses, my wife and I, we call them dick nosers.
Yeah.
Put that fucking dick nose away, all right?
Yeah, nobody wants to look at your nose.
Oh, like Mike 71 says, it's Donald ducking.
I've actually been fine. Look, I'll go where it's getting cold here. I have a black hoodie that goes over my head. I will put my mask on. I don't have to worry about doing my hair. I wear sweatpants, and I don't give a fuck, and I'm comfortable as shit. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need people looking at me. I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue. So this actually worked out okay for me because I don't like having to do my hair and getting dressed and going shopping. I just rather throw on some sweatpants, put a hoodie on, put the mask on, and just go and come back. That's it. I'm not a sociable person.
I am glad that I actually see people occasionally in where I live wearing masks. I am glad about that because whenever I need to wear a mask because I had a cold a while back, and when I had to go out, I put a mask on because I had a cold.
Oh, so it's mandatory here. It's literally mandatory here.
New Zealand
here. It's literally law.
Yeah, I'm in California, and Governor Newsom it is if you are outside, you have to wear a mask. Now I don't know how they're enforcing it, but it is a mandate.
But it's not being enforced enough anywhere. Last time I went to the supermarket, there was a guy who was like in the middle of an aisle, just standing there with no mask on. And I kind of like inched my way around him. I was like, it's disgusting you not wearing a mask. And he turned around and goes, I'm medically exempt. I've got asthma. I can't breathe very well, right? But then as I was putting my shopping in the car, he drives past in his car, screams out the window, top of his voice, mind your own fucking business. I'm like, yeah, you really like you struggle to breathe, you dickhead.
Maybe you should have caught that on video.
I wish I had.
I'm not a big fan of public shaming, although there are exceptions. And I think peer pressure is actually, in this case, a good thing because we're talking about people's lives.
Yeah.
So I think that this would be an exception. Public shaming is important.
It's like
we should teach all children, right? All children should be taught that if they're with their parents and they see someone that's not got a mask, they need to hug their parent and go, "Ooh, daddy, they're not wearing a mask. Am I going to get sick?"
Exactly. Yeah, something like that. I'm okay with that.
I view it the same way as I view vaccines. Like, wear a mask and get vaccinated. You know.
And drunk driving. Like, I don't tell you not to drive drunk because I care about you. I tell you not to drive drunk.
Right? Thank you. I'm the same way. We had a guy that lived with us for a while that we knew was driving drunk, and I'm like, look, I don't give a fuck if he drives drunk and kills himself, but I don't want him to take everybody out with him.
Yep. It's also like people driving high. Now this is a bit of a more contentious one because there are some people that actually drive safely when they're high. But like the reason, like some people may need weed to deal with maybe chronic pain or or things
and
like.
what is it going to do? Make them drive really slow?
The point is, a lot of people, there are laws basically saying that, at least I think there are laws saying you're not allowed to drive while high, and is that are those laws discriminatory towards disabled?
So, here's the thing.
Well. Right.
No,
there was
some.
Right, go on, Steve.
It's called driving under the influence, right?
Yeah.
And the problem with that is when you have pot, there's no standard like there is for breathalyzer. In California, it's 0.08. So if you blow 0.08, you're considered to be legally drunk, right? And when it comes to legal marijuana, they don't have a data set to say what is the limit you can have to say you are okay to drive and you're not okay to drive.
How does that work with like pharmaceuticals in terms of like opioids or barbiturates or any of those issues?
Yeah.
Okay, so in the UK recently, a health worker was sacked after. I'm not sure it was a health worker actually, but a guy. He was sacked after they did a drug test and they found that he had cannabis in his system, and they said, "Well, you're putting yourself and others in danger." Blah blah blah. Now the guy has chronic pain. And the courts actually sided with him that he had a legitimate reason to be using that cannabis. Emma, did he get his job back? I think he got compensation. I didn't get his job back, but he got compensation. The court said, even though it's illegal here, it was a legitimate reason for him to be using it, and it obviously doesn't affect his day-to-day, ability to do things. And it's kind of the same with me. I smoke cannabis nearly all the time because I'm in absolute fucking chronic pain. But it doesn't affect my ability to do what I do.
I'm totally cool with that. How I am. I'm totally cool with that, except there is no way. There's certain things that you have to say, look, I'm unable to do this. If you smoke cannabis for pain, totally understand that. Yep. And if you're working, totally understand that. But I don't want you driving a heavy piece of equipment, right? I don't want you working a forklift if you're high, period. Yeah. That is a safety concern, period.
Yeah, like
right? And so that has to be down.
I don't necessarily get high. That's the thing. It's, I'm totally acclimatized to the psychotropic side of it. It doesn't affect me like that. The only thing it does is the THC and the CBD help me manage the pain. I'm not high. I'm not stoned. I don't get stoned.
It is a very because some people do, as you said, like some people just get used to it and they don't get high. But then there are some people that will have it for a while and will be high. And I don't think that you can really have say, okay, well, this person is high or this person isn't high. There's no real way to.
It's very subjective. I mean, a person, like for example, I don't smoke pot. If I took a hit off a joint, I'd probably be freaking flying for hours, right? Because I'm not used to it. I have no tolerance for it, right?
So I remember I read a study that showed they tested people after they had smoked cannabis, like 45 minutes after they smoked cannabis, and they tested people 45 minutes after they'd smoked a normal cigarette. And they found that it was the people that smoked normal cigarettes that actually had lost some of their cognitive abilities compared to the people that smoked cannabis.
As a former smoker, I can tell you that it would make, like, the first, like, I have officially quit a year. Like, it's been 1 year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But it would make the first cigarette of the day would actually like make me dizzy, and then it's an upper, so it's stimulant. So it kind of.
I smoked for 25 years, and that first cigarette in the morning, or after sex, or after a good meal.
So should you be allowed to drive? Should you be allowed to drive a heavy piece of equipment after a cigarette, Steve?
But it was never mind altering. Cigarettes don't mind alter you. I never had any cognitive impairment.
Doesn't it make you get dizzy and give you a euphoric feeling?
I did my best work while smoking. I did, like going through college, I'd be doing a paper or something like that. I'd be smoking, writing and stuff like that. That's how I relaxed, right? I mean, but it's not mind altering, and we're there's no safety considerations there, right? Nobody's ever said, "Hey, look, you were impaired because you smoked a cigarette." Boom,
But that's what this test showed. It showed that there literally was impairment after smoking a cigarette compared to smoking cannabis. That it was objectively worse.
Well, again, but it's
FTFE.
It's subjective of how much is impairment. Yeah.
Can you link me that study at some point, because I'd definitely like to.
Yeah, I'll have to find it.
Yeah, because that would be.
I haven't read it for a while.
An interesting.
It was a very interesting, and they were doing tests against other things as well, like caffeine, even like harder drugs like acid and things as well. And it wasn't the worst, but nicotine and cigarettes were one of the worst for mental impairment.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, caffeine. I happen to like caffeine, right? I mean, caffeine. I'm not going to give up my coffee. I quit smoking 5 years ago, and I don't regret it. Let me tell you, it was a great decision. So if you went a year, you can go full long term. Because that first year is, the first couple months is the worst. There's no question about that.
I was a scary, scary person.
But after 5 years now, I don't even think about it. I have no desire to smoke, none.
Because this is actually,
I'm not giving.
I do have to say this has been very interesting, because like it may be that maybe we should allow people because maybe people that are stoned aren't actually all that impaired as you'd initially think. I do know that sometimes, like, because one time I got stoned and I was I did start freaking out a bit because my heart was just racing, but after a while what's that?
The problem you're going to run into is this, though. Let's say that we did that. As soon as there is a accident, soon there is a safety thing that has happened where the person had been high for whatever reason, or just had any kind of medical marijuana. Because again, doesn't matter whether you're actually feeling the effects or not; it's subjective. But as soon as there's a case where somebody said there's been an accident, industrial type accident, and the person had smoked marijuana that day, there's going to be liability. Period.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why isn't there the same liability if someone has an accident and they found out that they smoked a cigarette?
Because there's never been a case where that has happened. There's been cases where people have been high and there's been accidents. There's never been a case ever, so there's no precedent for it. Where somebody said, "Hey,
there has been, but it's not something that they would look for."
Yeah,
well, because the impairment would be. Look, let's be realistic here. If you have any cognitive impairments from smoking, they're nowhere near the level of eating a brownie that has medical grade marijuana in it. I had that happen once. I was high for 3 fucking days. That's why I don't.
There's a difference between edibles and.
I understand that now.
Oh my god! I don't get stoned from smoking weed, but my wife and I once made some nice cookies, and we ate a couple, and we were like, "Oh, nothing's happened." So we ate a couple more, and then we were like, "Oh, nothing's happened." So then we ate a couple more, and then we're like, "Oh, it's happening." And then, like 10 minutes later, we're like, "Oh shit, it's happening." Then 10 minutes later, we're like, "Holy fuck!" And then the next morning, my wife had overslept from work, and she woke me up, and she's like, "You need to drive me to work." And I was like, "I can't. The room is."
I was high for 3 days. This was several years ago, like 7, 8 years ago. And for somebody who doesn't partake, right, to eat medical gray marijuana, for 3 days, and it was the most miserable experience of my life. And I'm like, oh, who does this? I this sucks. People are weird for doing it because I hated it. I literally hated the experience.
Okay. All right. We'll continue on with the video because we've gotten way off topic.
It's fun. Thank you for this, man. I needed this. I don't get to vent very often.
Now that we've talked about dicks and smoking, let's go back.
This video is definitely demonetized.
Hey, all of you are brainwashed fucking sheep.
Wait.
Oh my God.
I feel like I missed something. Hold on.
He went from saying I'm wearing a mask to all you are brainwashed sheep.
Yeah, like I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Let me get you a slice of cheese pizza. Why can't you serve me? Dude, I'm not putting on. I got the fucking mask on right now. I got it on right now. What is this shit? Hey, all of you are brainwashed fucking sheep. I promise you. Slowly but surely, everybody's taking your rights away. Do you think a fucking virus with a 99.98 survival rate requires a fucking mask? Y'all gotta wake the fuck up.
These people should not be quoting numbers they don't understand.
You should not be allowed to have medical care, period. You do not get a ventilator. You do not get a vaccine. You do not get a hospital bed. You do not get to call an ambulance. Never, ever again for the rest of your life do you even get to see a doctor. Fuck you. Put the mask on.
Even though he's wrong about the 99.98%, right? Even if that was true, there's been 70 million cases or something.
Yeah.
So, Steve, what's 0.02% of?
Well, yeah, you're still talking about hundreds of thousands of people that have died. You're still talking about.
Why is that okay?
It's because it's grandma.
They don't seem to understand that there's only a certain amount of beds for ICUs, and we're talking about capacity, right? When they say that they're at 120% capacity, that means they have no beds for anybody, right? They're just. There's just no way to go. You only have a certain amount of ventilators, right?
Anybody, because COVID doesn't happen in a vacuum. Other people are still sick and need hospital beds. It's not just about COVID.
And also, right, when it comes to people like myself, I could catch COVID and then just never recover from it. That's one thing that that these people just don't talk about. They just don't talk about people.
Long COVID is a thing.
Just to make a point, we lost approximately 2,700 Americans died on 9/11, right?
Yes.
We went to two wars for 2 decades over that. And that was the whole basis for passing the Patriot Act, which was basically the largest crackdown on civil liberties.
It went way overboard. It went way overboard.
Yeah, but nobody blinked an eye. We have lost we're climbing up on 500,000 people. 500,000 people in the United States. We're losing
400,000 plus.
Yeah, 4,000 a day, 2 9/11s a day. Every fucking day. And
it's over 2 million people worldwide. For fuck's sake.
Well, they don't understand, they don't understand how numbers work. But yeah, and again, they don't seem to realize that the infection rate is something that if people weren't wearing, imagine if right now, if nobody was wearing a mask, it would be devastating. It would be decimating the world. It would make the Spanish flu look like nothing.
Projections, if they said there is no measures put in place, projections say that it could have killed as high as 1.8 billion people.
Yeah, exactly. It would have literally wiped out a billion people, probably, give or take. And I don't think they understand those types of transmission rates.
Because you don't see it on television. If they saw an explosion that killed 500,000 people on their television, their mindset would be totally different. But it's so personalized. You don't there isn't that human attachment to actually what's happening until it happens to someone you know or love, or you aren't a psychopath and have empathy for people. But the American psyche has been so diluted with this individual liberty, nah boo boo. I can do whatever the fuck I want, so fuck you.
My freedoms,
right? They're conspiratorial. They think that everything the government does is bad, right? They don't trust science, and I think a lot of it. And people say, "Well, why do you guys go against flat earthers? Why do you guys go against other creationists? Why do you guys talk about science?" These are the reasons, because all that stems into these conspiratorial type nutters. All of it does. I'm sorry. There is a correlation between conspiracy theorists and idiots. There's a correlation there.
One of the things that really gets me with these conspiracy fucking idiots is, for the past 10, 15 years, they've been going, the government's trying to get pictures of your face, all this facial recognition. They're all trying to get you to, they want you to have cameras everywhere so they can see your face. But now the government want you to hide your fucking face.
Right, exactly, that's true.
Oh my God.
Including when they were committing insurrection and decided to storm the Capitol without any face coverings whatsoever.
Yeah, but now the government does have your face. They saw it was you fucking idiot. If you did that with a mask on, you might have got away with it.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, think about this. Every give or take, I don't know the exact numbers, but approximately every month is the equivalently the amount of people that died in Hiroshima. Approximately, if you do the math, that is a lot of people. So when people say, "Well, it's you're being misled," no, every month it is the equivalent of dropping an atomic bomb on Hiroshima.
Yeah, but I think we should paint the photos of the people who died, like, just on the streets, mostly in front of Trump Tower, but just so people put a face to the casualty.
But
well, the worst part is it's preventable, or at least minimizable, right? I mean, you could there's preventative measures. It's not like people dying from the flu or something like that, or I shouldn't say the flu. People dying from accidents, right? Those are things that you're just going to have a specific amount of every annually. This is why you have these insurance adjusters come in and they do all these charts and these death tables, because they say, okay, this is how many people are going to die this year because of this, that, and this. But the COVID stuff, a lot of it is preventable.
Yeah, like, we were always going to lose people. People were always going to die. But you can't let better be perfect be the enemy of better.
Right. I'm sorry, mortality rates are a thing. But why exacerbate them? If you could save the life of one person by wearing a fucking mask, do it.
yeah.
I don't understand the fucking deal. Are you really being put out that bad that if everybody wore a mask for a month, the pandemic would be gone?
It was so politicized by, like, the glob of bacon grease that used to be the president, that it was wearing a sign on your face.
Best way I've heard Trump described ever.
Oh, I think he mismanaged the whole thing from day one. Completely mismanaged it. Because but look at his science knowledge. Oh wait, there wasn't any. This is what I'm saying. There was a correlation.
Science knowledge was basically inject bleach and you'll be fine.
Right? Like, they made they spent 5 years making fun of people for eating Tide Pods, and then the president went on national television and told the world to drink fucking bleach.
I'm sure Trump was one of the people like Tide Pods. I think they're great. They taste wonderful.
Anyway, we'll continue on with this because we've got to get through. We're only 40.
We're just taking over your Sorry.
Yeah.
You invited us on. It's your fault.
I am on month 10 of staying in my apartment that is in a green zone in the middle of a pandemic. So I felt the need to get some things off my chest.
Yeah, because I do know that I want to finish this before FTFE has to go. I don't know when the FTFE has to go.
All right.
I'm okay then now. My debate's in 2 hours.
They're killing your businesses. They're killing everything.
Okay, first thing about killing your businesses. Like, firstly, masks don't kill your businesses. Masks create business, right? Because masks mean that you can have...
Well, I don't think he's talking about masks. I think he's talking about businesses being shut down. And he has a point. Look, you cannot stop all businesses because people have to make a living. I get this, but there is reasonable accommodations that people can make. In California, what they've done is they said, look, you can operate at this capacity. You can have it outdoors. People wear a mask. They've changed the way they've done menus and serving. All fine with these things. But they can't just say, look, you can't open until we tell you can open, and then go 6, 7, 8 months, and businesses are going out of, people are going bankrupt, people are losing their houses. That doesn't work that way. You have to be able to, what you need to do, and Trump didn't plan for any of this.
Here's where the American fear of socialism comes in. So last year we spent, I think it was either $715 or $718 billion on defense. That's just on defense, right? So that is more than enough to do it. If we had done it in March, do a 1 month lockdown, and then like 6 months of a mask mandate, and send people money to subsist until we can reopen the economy. What the economy can't survive is a chronically ill generation of people, which is what's going to happen. Like if everybody's sick and dying, they can't go to Trader Joe's to get their organic tomatoes.
Right, they're chronically sick, and they have they have no income. The business is shutting down. I mean, again, this was so mismanaged, and I can't even tell you how disgusted I am with Trump and his handling of the whole pandemic. And by the way, he was aware of it. He even said, "Yeah, I downplayed it. Fuck you, Trump."
Yeah, like when it comes to,
I think.
I was just gonna say, when it comes to New Zealand, right? As I said, like I can go to the supermarket and like I don't have to wear a mask, right? The reason being,
New Zealand, fuck you.
The reason being is because we handled it well. Our government said, let's go, and as soon as we started having a spike in cases, our government basically said, we're going to have a huge lockdown. No one's allowed to.
If everyone follows the
nothing
rules,
wrong with that. But here's
to bring it under control.
She said it. People are scared of the word socialism. They're scared of the word lockdown. It's like, well, we can't isolate ourselves. Yes, you can. Every country needs to isolate for a while.
I don't know if you guys heard the super chat, but Bella Charge says, if everyone followed the rules, it wouldn't take 6 to 8 months to bring it under control. It took. Look at New Zealand. We locked down for 8 weeks. Done.
Yeah, and they're also like, for example, in New Zealand, when people would come into there and they would have a 14-day mandatory quarantine, and then there was people that actually lied about it. Guess what happened to them? Oh, they got charges pressed against them. They weren't fucking around. They took this shit seriously.
Yeah,
I think today New Zealand had its first COVID case outside of an isolation place in 3.5 months.
Okay.
We had 134 new cases in the city that I'm in the other day, or the area that I'm in. Yeah. It's like really. I mean, it's like, for God damn, I don't live in a big area either, so that's a lot of people.
Yeah. So if I go to the Ministry of New Zealand, and I go down to currently, it says there's 79 cases, and they're in all of them are in managed isolation and quarantine. Okay.
Right? Like, they keep saying this is unprecedented, but this is actually the most precedented thing in human history. Like, humans have been fighting viruses since we climbed out of...
Exactly. Yeah.
Because,
I mean, this is not the first pandemic, and it won't be the last, and we should have been... you know what's funny is we actually had plans for how to deal with pandemics.
And Trump just
didn't utilize any of it. Yeah, we didn't use any of it. It's like, holy shit.
They were just panicked.
He literally got rid of the pandemic preparedness unit a year ago, almost to the day.
I mean, it was like a trifecta of fuckery. We had the worst fucking president ever, and we had a pandemic at the same time. I was like, okay, that's not the best time to have a fucking shit president.
It's like living through the Great Depression and the Spanish flu simultaneously with Krusty the Clown at the helm.
I reckon Krusty would have done better.
He probably
one person.
Did this guy get kicked out?
So I do have to say though, Lubo in China said 14 days is not enough, should extend to 21. Now, in New Zealand, whilst you're in the 14-day quarantine, you've got two options, right? You either get tested, or you spend another 14 days in quarantine.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, if you
They should just keep you in quarantine indefinitely until you take the test.
yeah, like if you don't get tested, then you remain in quarantine. And people have said that it's like you got people in Fox News basically saying, "Oh, this is fascism or whatnot," and it's like, no.
It's not.
There's always some combination of I like when they call us Nazi communists. Because
Hey, look, if you're on YouTube and you're not called a Nazi at least once, you ain't making a difference.
Yeah, I did an entire song about it. Remember that Planet Walk?
like stop being such a communist, you Nazi. Like, I don't think you understand what those two words mean.
It's funny because
I don't get it. In the long run, how is wearing a mask when you go into a store fascism? Like,
how is it communism?
It's none of the above. The Republicans are so good at marketing. They have branded the hell out of the word communism and socialism and all of that shit. Just like anything that remotely scary that they don't want you to do, it's communism. It's socialism.
Question for the panel: should you be allowed to defend yourself against anti-maskers?
Yes, that's
I'll go so far as this. If there's an anti-masker and somebody, for example, if they spit on you, normally that's assault, right? That is a form of assault, right? And you can go to jail for that. But it needs to have higher charges nowadays because it is. Now, I'm not going to say it's like attempted murder or anything like that. But during a pandemic, some of these nominal crimes need, like people going in and licking ice cream. They're being arrested and they are being prosecuted, and they're being prosecuted at a higher. I don't remember the exact charges, but it's not just merely something simple. These people are looking at serious jail time, right?
Yeah,
and that's what they need to do.
It should be considered criminal negligence, much like I said before, drunk driving. Like you're intentionally doing something that you know can cause the death, at minimum harm,
reckless endangerment,
death to other people, not yourself, to other people.
Yes.
Anyway,
Compare Trump to President Camacho. When Camacho was faced with a national crisis, he consulted with the smartest man on earth and listened.
Oh, cool.
So I feel like we just brushed over that.
For instance, if for instance someone not wearing a mask kept getting near you in a store, and you said don't get near me, and they kept getting near you and talking at you, and didn't care, should you be allowed to defend yourself? Should you be allowed to knock them on their fucking ass?
Absolutely.
Well, in America, you can you're sometimes allowed to shoot people for that in America, but I wouldn't suggest that. I would say that.
Okay, here's the thing: the way the law works is that you can only
works well for defense.
You only allow
agree better charge. I will fucking throat punch someone who starts doing that shit to me.
I like to overreach punch.
You're only allowed to use enough force to equal or slightly more to diffuse a situation, right? That's it. So it is a disproportionate amount of force that if you throw somebody because they're not wearing a mask, you're going to go to jail.
Unless you're in a
I disagree because they're technically trying to kill me.
Well,
you can disagree all you want, but you're going to have charges against you in the United States. That's called a
unless you're in a stand your ground state, which was mostly used.
That's only if life is in jail. Life is in jeopardy, right? If they have a gun pointing at you or a knife, then yes, you have no onus to retreat, right?
The standard in some stand your ground would a reasonable person believe that they were in danger of great harm or death.
Right,
so
exactly.
A case could be made for that.
But
in some states I do have to say though, in FTFE's example, where they like if you were to let's say you were to try and keep away from a person with that's not wearing a mask, right? Trying to social distance from them, and they keep on trying to approach you, and you keep on backing away, and then you say something like "Stay away from me," and they keep approaching. I think then you should be allowed to use force against them because that is a form of harassment.
I got an idea. And first of all, in some states you do have a responsibility to try to retreat, but in other states you don't. So it depends on the state and depends on if you have castle laws or not. But here's a great multi-million ideas for somebody to go steal it from me. I don't care. But you know what you do? Make a COVID stick. That's a 6-foot stick, and when somebody tries to come near you, you just shove it in their eye.
Well, what you
or their gut if you're not that malicious. There you go.
What you
6 foot called COVID sticks.
What you do is you carry a.
Maybe they already have those.
Is you carry a sword round with you, right? If you're close enough to be stabbed, that's your own fault, buddy.
Well, no. See, here's the thing. That's a weapon. But if you just have a stick, right? That's not even sharpened. It could be blunt, but it's just 6 foot. It's not going to be considered a weapon. So you're not under any kind of like legal things, but it's just if they come near you, just poke it, stick it in their belly button, man. Just shove it in their gut, man. That I'm okay with. That's fine.
Yeah.
Or cattle prod.
I'm going to create something that is just like a 2-meter bubble that has just a bunch of tasers on the outside. You come near me, you're going down.
Oh.
Public beheading to one will make them all think.
That is true.
I mean, he's not wrong.
Anyway, we'll get through a little more of this, and then we'll go to more of the other stupid that we've got. Because
in Texas, I have no duty to retreat, and my castle is any place I'm legally allowed to be with a weapon, which is
Yeah, that's well, Texas is a little more. They're a little more liberal in their things, you know. California, not so much. We haven't caught up to that yet.
Anyway,
They're taking away your jobs. They're taking away your They're taking away your livelihoods. They're taking our jobs. You think that it's gonna stop at the masks? You think it's ever gonna stop at the masks? Y'all gotta wake up.
I mean the masks are to try and stop the other things from stop people from losing their jobs, right?
Somebody please answer who they is. It's always they.
The government, NASA.
Deep state.
They and them.
Who isn't part of they at this point in time?
I can't confirm or deny that I am.
If I told you, I would have to kill you.
You don't get the memos?
I mean, I don't.
You're not CC'd on the
I'm
emails?
not part of they, clearly.
Just speak to Karen in HR. She'll sort it out. It's cool.
And Karen in HR is not an actual Karen, right? Or did
No, she's alright. She's cool.
Okay.
I mean, do you remember when Karen had to sort out the mess when they asked Dave to take over from Michael and he ruined the photocopier? Karen was the one to deal with that.
Okay. Karen's cool. Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about the British office?
I cannot confirm or deny. I would have to kill you.
Yeah, we can't tell people that NASA is just the office.
Yeah, it's just Ricky Gervais shouting at people.
Yeah. Anyway, a little more of this.
It's a long video. Does it get kicked out? I want to know the resolution here. Does it get kicked out?
I have seen them on Discord. It's they.
Looks like he's leaving on his own.
That's not as fun.
Yeah.
I want to see him get tased.
Everybody
get
gotta
tased?
wake up. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're gonna come. Everybody gotta wake up. Slowly but surely.
Oh,
It's the fucking sniffles, bro. Everybody's close to each other, touching the same things. That Coca-Cola has been touched by 20 people. I guarantee it. So how is a mask gonna stop that?
Oh my God! You idiot!
You disinfect your hands, you fucking dick.
Yeah.
Wash your hands.
He called it the sniffles. It's just the sniffles.
Yeah, sure. Tell that to the people that are drowning in their own lung fluid.
I guarantee that most people that wear a mask are also, generally speaking, I would imagine, are the people that bought out this hand sanitizer and they do wash their hands, kind of thing. It's not a direct correlation, but I think I would probably venture to guess that the majority of people that wear masks religiously also take other precautions as well. I mean, I'd like to think so. I have no way to verify that.
When I go into a store, I disinfect my hands and I disinfect my trolley and I make sure I wear the mask. And then when I get in my car, after getting the shopping, I disinfect my hands. And then when I get home, I disinfect my hands. And then I put the shopping away and then I disinfect my hands.
And here's the thing on that, though. Because I am not a germaphobe. I just like cleanliness. I mean, I wash my hands frequently. Okay.
I'm not a germaphobe. I just don't want to die of a deadly
Here's
virus.
the thing, I don't use hand sanitizer. And I think to me, the problem that we're going to run into is that because the overuse of hand sanitizers, there might be a superbug that's even worse than COVID, right? And so I think that because of natural selection, there might be some ramifications because the overuse of these hand sanitizers. Because I think that washing your hands with soap and water is effective enough. I don't unless I'm going to go into surgery and do some of these. I'm not a surgeon.
But
They use hand sanitizer. I'm not comfortable using hand sanitizer.
But the hand sanitizers kind of do the same thing as soap. It literally tears the virus apart. It's not like a suppressant, like an antibiotic or something.
Yeah, no, I get that. But soap and water, it one's a suffocant, so it does it causes the thing to die and explode and wash away. But just the mere soap and water,
that is just as good.
Yeah, but
I'm not denying that is just as good.
The antimicrobial stuff is like, okay, I'm going to kill 99.997%, but that 0.003 that survived, they get resistant to it. You're not going to get resistant to soap. You will get resistant to microbials, and so there might be a problem later on that we haven't. Look at long-term stuff yet.
You are right. Soap and water is probably the most effective way. Soap, it has a two-sided molecule. One side repels water, one side attracts water.
Yes.
And what it does is the side that attracts water gets trapped on the virus parts that don't have the water, and then bits that are repelled by water then pull the virus apart. It literally shreds the virus to bits. There's no surviving what soap does to a virus.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I took water chemistry too about polar molecules.
Yeah. So
I think I just use hand sanitizer in between the going out and the coming home because who knows if I'm going to forget and pick my nose or stick my finger in my ear or my eye or something in between before I can get home to wash my hands.
Yeah.
So do we continue with this or?
Yeah, it's fine.
Come on, it's only 30 seconds. Let's see where it goes.
Okay.
Over it. How's it going? Predator Poachers on YouTube. Oh, wait, you touched me, but you're wearing the mask. You can't get the virus. Y'all gotta wake up. Everybody gotta wake up.
Who else wants to punch him? Just me?
It's okay, guys. The mask is safety. As long as you feel safe wearing a fucking piece of cloth. Y'all gotta wake up, man.
Another person that doesn't understand how masks actually work.
This shit was supposed to be over in April 2020. And look at y'all now.
Yeah, look at them now because we didn't do what we should have done in March.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because if they had have done things like staying the fuck at home, right?
Right.
Yeah. Like Santa Claus says, stay the fuck at home, stay the fuck at home. Don't you be a fucking dick, please stay the fuck at home.
Yeah. And by the way, people that are talking in the audience, a lot of the alcohol-based stuff, it does have microbial agents in it, like triclosan. So, I mean, you really have to look. It's not just 60% alcohol.
The thing is about the alcohol is it does the same thing as soap. It breaks down the lipid layer. And that's not something that you can form a resistance to, the antimicrobial components.
Right.
As long as you've got alcohol in your hand sanitizer, it is going to be just as effective as soap and water, but soap and water is something that everybody's got. Also, hand sanitizer is more likely to possibly dry out your skin and things like that.
Yeah, that's another reason I don't like it. It does. Yeah. It doesn't really act as an irritant with me. It's just I have really smooth, girly hands, and I can
imagine that. I don't know why I can picture that 100%. But
I am 50. I'm pushing 51 years of age, and I have the hands of a 20-year-old. I mean, they're just
so.
Amazing.
That time when you killed the bullrog, when you slammed the staff into the ground, was it hard to grip onto the staff?
Oh, I could grip on. I know how to grip the staffs. I can grip.
Again, I can imagine that being true, Steve.
By the way, I do have to.
I've said this.
I do have to say, Brainy Beaver said they don't form resistance to drying out from alcohol. He isn't right. So.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So as long as
Steve's right if you're just using the Like if you're just using the antimicrobial stuff, that doesn't have alcohol. Steve's right. The evolution of the thing.
I'm talking about.
But as long as you've got the alcohol in it, then there's no chance any virus or bacteria is going to survive.
I think it has to be like 60% to be 99%.
Yes. And that is one of the problems. See, a lot of the stores that I go into that have the hand sanitizer at the door, it's all watered down. Sometimes you just put water on my hands. So
that's not high end good. I mean, if you get a good gel has 60% alcohol in it, you feel it burn. It's not watered down. Yeah.
All right.
That's when you know it's working.
All right. So
having smooth hands. Yes, I want to have smooth hands for my staff. What's wrong with that?
All right. So I have top secret info.
I mean, that's an image I never wanted in my head.
All right. So moving on. I've got top secret info for you all. All right, you ready? This comes from
Have you cleared this?
It comes from the most. It comes from.
Do you not remember when you? Wait, hold on. Do you not remember when you leaked the fucking information agency thing and you had to shut down your channel for a while? Have you cleared this?
Don't worry. It comes from a site that is absolutely cleared for this because it's been leaked on a site that's absolutely reputable called 4chan.
Oh, 4chan. Yeah, that's where we got our info from.
Yeah. So, Joe Biden has been arrested. The deep state is in disarray and has struck a deal with the Trump administration. There will be an experimental surgery that will exchange the faces of Biden and Trump. So when you watch this Biden's inauguration, you'll really be watching Trump being sworn in for a second term.
Wait,
and when you
Did they just steal the plot of Face Off with John Travolta?
Yes, and I don't know if they're like doing a parody or if that is actually part of the QAnon thing now.
Well, 4chan is where QAnon hangs out because it's not really moderated like Facebook in that way. So, I mean, who knows? There's actually going to be a bunch of people that think that Biden is just Trump with a face mask, aren't they?
It was a bizarre experiment. It comes from MK Ultra back in the day where they took Trump's soul and they stuck it into Biden's body, and Biden's soul into Trump's body. So now we have Biden's body, but it's Trump's consciousness in there.
If it makes them stop being assholes, can we just go with it? Like if we just tell them Biden is Trump. Then they can get behind Biden and Trumpism I feel like we could get behind this.
Yeah. And
I feel like it would be a much more exciting world if that shit was real.
But you've also got this.
I mean, anyone could.
I don't think Trump's aware of this because he left the White House and he's going on a hiatus.
So was there a bunch of liposuction included in that surgery? I'm not saying that Trump's fat, but I mean, you could fit 3 Bidens inside Trump.
Oh, that's true because you have to put Biden's face on Trump for it to work.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be a bit stretched out.
But then you've also got this one from 4chan, right? Which says, calling all patriots. Donald J. Trump is still president. How? The plan was enacted over the weekend. Only you never saw it. Biden, his cabinets, and tons of other both Dem and Republican senators and other officials were arrested. Proof of their vast crimes was shown. They were court-martialed and found guilty. However, it was decided...
They're civilians! How do you be court-martialed? They're civilians!
Oh my God.
However, it was decided this was too much for the American people to accept, overturning the election and showing the crimes of these politicians could lead to civil war. So an agreement was reached. Biden and the other deep state elements will be allowed to move freely and serve their terms. President Trump would concede and leave office, but this is all for appearances. Behind the scenes, Donald J. Trump is still president.
This sounds like USA, the fan fiction.
Wait. So
the senator called Shadow Press.
So senators now are under the UCMJ.
Nope.
I mean, okay. They're civilians. Don't see how that works.
Right. So I've got a question about this though. If it's still Donald Trump in office, why has he rejoined the WHO, rejoined the Paris Climate Agreement, rejoined the Iran nuclear deal?
Get on board here. Try to follow the bouncing ball. We are fooling them. We are.
So you put in the old double bluff. I see.
Misdirection. Yeah.
Yes. Double agent. It's coming to Netflix soon.
But it highlights the fact that Trump was able to tap in to the dumbest people of America and utilize that and I will say he was masterful at it. I mean, he knew how to play stupid people because he knows how to think like a stupid person. And by the way, that's probably not something he does consciously. Okay, he just knows how to think like a stupid person.
So there's a thing where you got at the moment they're trying to get rid of Trump in his cameo in Home Alone 2.
In Canada,
replace him digitally with an older version of Macaulay Culkin.
I think in Canada they actually did on the newer. I know they're pressing for it, but I don't know if they actually succeeded. But yeah,
that would seem like a lot of work for a really piss poor sequel that not a lot of people watch.
Yeah.
Don't you dare badmouth Home Alone 2.
I'm just saying.
But think about it. What of all the presidents we've had, this is the president these people decided to ride or die on.
To be fair,
like really?
To be fair, the third and fourth sequels to Home Alone were worse.
Wasn't there one with animals?
I don't know.
Animals?
Yeah, I'm sure there was one with animals that were left Home Alone or something.
You're filthy animals.
Oh wait, wasn't it like the third one like a spy movie or something? And
it was a different kid. The third one had like I don't know what the kid's name was, but it wasn't Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
No one remembers that kid.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what, guys? Your new friends that you meet. I was in Home Alone 3. You fucking liar. There was no Home Alone 3.
But yeah, like we also can. There's a lot of info coming out of 4chan. Like, 4chan is a very reputable source, isn't it?
I didn't know that was a thing.
So this person says, "This is fucking happening. I'm a National Guard soldier from the District of Columbia National Army Guard. Rumor going around for days is we aren't here for Biden. We are here to seize power for the real President Trump. My commanding officer just confirmed it. The order will come in the dead of night on the 19th/20th. When you wake up on the 20th, we will have seized all the organs of power in DC for President Trump and Biden and his cabinet, along with tons of senators, and the reps will be in cuffs. Everyone I have talked to is ready to go. We are ready to save America."
Well, I mean, it's gotta be true.
I'm going to say that post is... I'm going to say that this post is real, right? And what's happened is there's a dumb soldier, and the commanding officer's like, let's see if we can pull a prank on this idiot. Get ready to get out of bed on the 19th.
Look, it's anonymous and it has an ID tag. It's got to be real. It has to, this is obviously verified.
I don't think the District of Columbia has a National Guard. It's not a state. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's why when the insurrection happened, they had to send in Maryland and Virginia.
No, they have it. The DC does have a National Guard, but they got 200 from Virginia. But they also have their own National Guard as far as DC, because it's not a state, but it's still an independent. They have their own National Guard. Yeah. But when the insurrection, they actually reached out to the Pentagon days before, and the Pentagon actually approved mobilizing the National Guard. Virginia had said that they had. Yeah, they promised 200, and I don't know how. I still don't know the whole story of how that got blocked. I don't.
Trump never made the call, and this could become a constitutional crisis somewhere in the future. Pence
Trump
was the one. Vice President Pence was the actual person who made the call that brought the National Guard in, which means that the order of the chain of command was broken. Right, like Pence technically didn't have the authority to do that.
Okay.
Only Trump at that point in time. So what happens now? Like, yeah, Pence jumped the line, but he kind of had to, because we've never had a president just like completely neglect his duty. So It's all very confusing.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. I have to look into that.
Yeah,
I will look at, that's the first I've ever heard of that. So
the point is, Trump did not fucking do what he should have. Well, clearly, he didn't do what he should have done in the situation.
shocker.
Right.
No, well, I don't know how true this is, but rumors are that he wanted to call in the National Guard to protect his supporters.
Yeah, and there's also some question as to who would actually be in command of them once they stepped onto federal ground, right? Because then I believe Trump...
Normally it would be under Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens if he really is behind...
Well, here's the thing. That's where okay, so being somebody who was in the military, you have a duty to disobey an unlawful order. You have a duty to. And so the National Guard, you would hope, and I don't think this is going to happen, we would have hoped that if Trump had ordered them to do something that is an unlawful order, there would have been people in the ranks that would have been, no, we are not doing this. And you would have commanding officers that know better saying, no, there's no way we're going to
But I also think the insurrectionists ended up being there was a fucking Navy SEAL, not a Navy SEAL in that crowd. So it's how much could we have even trusted them?
That's why we're hoping that if you had 100 people in charge, 95% of them, were honest, people that knew what the shit they're doing. Then you have your 5% outliers, Yeah.
By the way, I got a super chat from Richard Petrusiv saying Trump happens when stupidity is considered a right, and I feel like
exactly.
I feel like FTFE would have something to say about that.
Yeah, remember, stupidity is not a right. I didn't steal that from Moira in Overwatch, honest.
People think reality TV is reality. It's not. The guy was a reality star. That's about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
so again, I don't know how true all this is because just reading about Trump makes me mad. But during the insurrection, during the Capitol riot, he was sitting watching the TV, and the only thing he was concerned about was how bad his supporters were making him look.
Yeah, and that's where his culpability is so clearly on display, is the fact that he could have stopped them with a single tweet the second they broke through the first police barrier. The second they stepped onto ground that was considered legal for them to be on, he could have pulled the pin on the whole thing, and he didn't. So say what you want about his freedom of speech and whether or not he incited it, he was derelict in his duty and negligent when he did not call them off, and that speaks to his motive to incite them.
I mean, it's quite clear he wanted them to succeed. He wanted them to get in and seize power, right?
Yeah.
I think the impeachment was legit. I think that he did obviously incite. I think there was obviously an insurrection. Will he, be convicted in the Senate? A hit or miss. Probably not. Historically, it's not happening.
The dude should be in jail. No fucking.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The problems they run into is things like, okay, first of all, can you impeach a president that's no longer president? Well, that's not a factor. He was impeached before he left. But hypothetically, can you impeach a former president? Because now the Republicans are saying, well, we're going to impeach, Bush, or not Bush, but Obama. It doesn't work that way.
It could also be, there's a clause in the 14th Amendment that allows for something similar to impeachment that would ban him from ever being able to hold federal office again.
Right. And that's the reason why they want this.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell, who's the Senate Republican leader, is kind of leaning towards he's going to try to get the Republicans to impeach because that would be what was best for Mitch McConnell. But what is more important is the barring him from federal office. And in that case, you do not need 17 Republican senators. You need one. And we've got it. We've got Mitt Romney.
We have 10.
I'm just...
Yeah, but, okay, so...
I'm actually
sorry, go ahead.
I'm just wondering... If, let's say that Donald Trump didn't get impeached, right? Do you think he would actually try and run again?
Yes.
Well,
I think if he had his Twitter account, if he had graciously accepted the results, so say he pretends to fight in Georgia, he does a recount, he does one lawsuit, and then he graciously concedes. He would have absolutely been able to run again. He would have kept all of his social media presence. It would be totally different world. He sank himself.
Yeah.
He was Dr. Frankenstein, and his monster became too big, and he just had no control over it, and boom, now he's done for good.
Yeah, because his base, a lot of his bases have even splintered against him now. But people have asked, okay, well, how do you, if he's been impeached, why have a Senate in the trial? Why can you even do that legally? Because it hasn't happened before. Yeah, you can. Fox News and Hannity they were trying. It was really sleazy, and I don't get it because Fox News had put out that Alan Dershowitz says that you cannot impeach a former president. You cannot impeach a president for so long in office. It's like, wait a minute, we're not talking about impeachment. The impeachment's already been done. We're talking about sending charges to the Senate, which you can do. Matter of fact, you have, I think, 100 days to do it. And the reason why is the people have this misconception. The reason for the Senate conviction is not just to remove a sitting president. And there are other factors involved, as well as you pointed out, so they cannot run for office again. They do not have perks. They do not have a severance things. Usually they get like, I think, $25,000.
It's more than that. Like, we would be paying for his security, pension, and all of his other shit for the rest of his fucking life.
Right.
Long, but not because I'm making a threat against him, just because he's old. But I don't want to pay for it. Like, he cost me a year of my life stuck in this damn apartment with the pandemic. I don't want to pay
that's why we want to convict in the Senate. That's the reason they're doing it. It's not for any other reason. Is that they don't want him to have all these benefits. They don't want him to run again, which, by the way, as you said, he has sank his own ship. He can, if he ever ran again, it would be, he's done. He's not going to get the support he has.
He'd be laughed out of it.
Yeah.
It
would be funny.
He screwed them.
It'd be funny. Being honest, it would be funny to see him attempt to run again. Especially if he ran for third party, right? Because that would be hilarious. Basically, he would just be sinking the Republican Party, and I think that's why the best thing for the Republican Party would be to in the Senate is to basically have it pass through the Senate and say yes.
Yeah, I agree. And here's the thing: a lot of them have their own political aspirations, right? They're saving their own ass if they just get rid of him and bar him, and then they can move on.
Yeah,
which is why McConnell finally stood up to him, because he's no longer useful to McConnell. He's now become bad for the Republican brand.
Yeah, he is toxic to. I mean, he has single-handedly tanked the Republican Party. I mean, just tanked it for decades to come.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we'll go on to the next thing, because the next thing will be a bit. Next thing will be a bit of a break from all the political stuff. So, this
ball.
Oh,
I need that.
You all forget one thing. He will be in jail. SDNY.
I mean, yeah, there is that.
That might be criminal charges. New York City might put criminal charges.
Yeah, isn't he facing bankrupt tax evasion charges in New York?
I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath on him.
I wouldn't either, but it's nice to since there is a possibility. It's nice to think about.
I mean, it is my favorite porn movie. Yes,
Trump's prison porn. Yes.
So,
I mean, I think from Trump, there's one thing we all learned out of the whole Trump thing is that the most stressful job in the world is to be Trump's social media manager.
Well, now he's speaking directly in Morse code, so he doesn't.
Anyway, when it comes to this image, this is kind of a bit of a self-own for flat earthers, right? Right, because this is obviously a flat earthers saying, save time when responding to globetards with our new keyboard. Firstly, that shit doesn't look new. Right, that looks ancient. And
who gets IBM keyboards nowadays?
Secondly,
The button
why
for
not just have
big.
one button? Like, why not just have a "fuck you" button on your keyboard? Now, I'd like to have a "fuck you" button like on the keyboard, right?
I have one. Ready?
Yeah, something like that, right?
That's my shut up, fuck up button.
And thirdly, maybe flat earthers do actually have this keyboard, and that's why they can't, type coherent sentences because they're limited by the amount of letters they can.
Yeah,
On their landlines.
Not to go back to the Trump thing, but somebody makes a good point in the live chat. They said if he's convicted, he loses Social Security detail and his security clearance. Now, the Social Security detail, they're still determining if he has lost or not. There's a lot of discussion about that. However, the security clearance is a big thing because normally, I don't know if you guys know this, but a sitting president can invite in an ex-president to any of the secret meetings kind of stuff, right? They can tell them any top secret stuff if they choose to. They don't want him. None of them do. None of them want him around. But even if he lost his security clearance, he couldn't be invited anyways, which is good. But it's so funny because it's like, well, who cares about security clearance? Because they don't want him. They're never going to invite him into anything.
And he also already, his entire apparatus of security clearances for his administration was false. Like, he got rid of the people that do the actual security clearances and lowered the standards because Jared Kushner couldn't fucking get one because of his foreign entanglements.
Yeah. I think the keyboard you're showing on screen there, Planet Walker, is a good keyboard for using against Trump supporters.
And by the way, if somebody said if he's impeached, he can't run again. No, he hasn't been. He has been impeached, and he can run again. He cannot run again if he's convicted in the Senate. And they say in the Senate, I don't know what is it. How many people? Is only one? I don't remember.
Convict him in the Senate. You would convict of the articles of impeachment. You can still get him through the 14th Amendment.
And do it that way. Okay. Yeah.
To bar him from office, and then you only need 51 senators, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, it's a simple majority.
Go look at your server. The flat
it's a
Earth.
majority.
But anyway, the next thing that we're going to, I will have a quick look at my server in the flat Earth. It's I usually actually use my server. That's not what I wanted to do.
So all they need to do now is they need to convict him in the Senate, and then they have a simple majority to say he.
Yeah, and there's some discussion that you don't even have to convict him in the Senate to invoke the 14th.
I thought you did, but I again.
We have never. We've actually never done it. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in the flat Earth. This stuff, I'll have to take a proper look later. Anyway, speaking of impeachment, there's been articles of impeachment drafted up for Joe Biden.
Yeah, so this lady is she's this is just a pure troll in my opinion.
Let's take a listen.
What's your congressman something or other?
Biden. We'll see how this goes.
Filed
articles.
So yeah, she's a QAnon.
She's trolling Congress. No, isn't she a congresswoman?
Yeah,
she is, but she's like the head of the Q caucus.
Yeah,
it's fucking ridiculous, man.
I do like how this person said, ratio for your attack on democracy by Joe Biden eating ice cream.
Yeah, it's like it's so stupid. So stupid.
Absolutely.
And he's not even the dumbest one. Like the Boebert congresswoman from Colorado who wants to bring her gun to the floor of Congress and tweeted out Nancy Pelosi's location during the insurrection. And
how about that one that had brought his gun in because they put these security checkpoints in, what I thought they already had, but he tried to bring his gun in, and if anybody else, if one of us tried to bring a gun into Congress, what would happen?
I would be in Guantanamo Bay.
Right. I mean, I don't understand that they get special privileges like that. That to me is,
they don't, except that they're white and entitled.
So I'm sorry that the problem is you do not. I love the Second Amendment, but I'm sorry, but you do not want guns in a contentious thing in Congress where people are having arguments with each other. You don't want firearms. You don't. That's bad.
These people could very well have been like working with the insurrectionists.
Absolutely.
There's evidence to that. So imagine how you would feel if you were like Nancy Pelosi, who's
Absolutely.
hated people in the country, and there are people in Congress, in the body of Congress people that literally want to bring their guns to the floor.
AOC had the same issue. She was scared too. Now, look, when this insurrection was going on, Landon and I were live, and we were doing. We were explaining. It was on the 6th, where they do the count, where they certify the count, and so during the certification of the count, the insurrection started, and during that time, he actually had a congressperson staff member in the Capitol at the time on the phone with him, talking about stuff going on in real time while this was happening. So we had a legit insider in the Capitol during the insurrection, and yeah, they were not. They were scared. They were.
And the people need
not
to
secure.
go in the building that normal people from the public wouldn't know. I have a friend who's a staffer and has taken me around to some of those places, and trust me, you don't just stumble upon some of the.
They had you think they had inside information, and people gave them. Yeah, I think that's highly probable.
Especially with the panic buttons, the panic buttons have been pulled out.
They were disabled though.
Yeah, weird. That's some weird shit. And not to be a conspiracy theorist, but like those are actual facts. The fact is that the panic button had been pulled out and they were in places that the public isn't normally aware of. Those are true facts. So if you put those together, logic could lead you down the path of maybe they had, if not a congressperson, a staffer, or somebody with some knowledge that said, hey, do.
Well, it's kind of like I'm not a conspiracy guy either, obviously, but the same thing with like the Epstein cameras. What? Huh? I find that to be a little odd. So I think there's nothing wrong with the hypothesizing that there are people that have inside shit, because we know that's have happened. We've seen that happen in other things, so that's not that improbable. It's not that conspiratorial.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on to the next thing, because I do want to get through this. Hopefully soon. Before FTFE has to leave, I'd like to.
We're going on 3 hours. I got
10 minutes. I need to go.
Yeah. So this next thing is, have you heard about this? Biden inheriting non-existent coronavirus vaccine distribution plan.
Yeah, heard about that.
Yeah,
What now?
Like Biden inheriting.
There was nothing. Zero plan.
So Trump did fuck all, basically.
Yeah. Now this,
because by the time it was a distribution, he had already lost, so he was probably like, fuck it, it's his problem now.
Yeah. I think that it's one of these things where it was either they're stupid as shit and can't come up with a plan, or they didn't make a plan because neglect of duty. And
Trump is acting like someone
Sparkies
who
must be them.
what was
basically Trump was acting like someone who knew he was about to get fired. He didn't give a fuck about the job anymore.
Yeah,
it was just like spite. Like, well, I'll let 4,000 people a day die because fuck you. You didn't realize
Because he's a dick.
but
he never came out just shit about the job. He never knew what he was doing. I'm convinced for the last 4 years there have been other people doing everything, and he hasn't done. He didn't do anything. It was literally other people running the country.
to be fair, though, like in Trump's entire term, on average, there was 200 people dying a day from coronavirus vaccine on average, and in Biden's term, it's been 4,000 people dying a day from coronavirus. So Biden is clearly worse than Trump. Obviously,
right?
There's probably some people that actually believe that. Unironically.
Of course there is.
Anyway, the next thing is we're trying to get through stuff. So apparently these people now know how the Native Americans felt.
Oh my god.
Wow. The fuck?
Oh my god.
Clearly, they feel the Native Americans' pain. Clearly, you can. Clearly.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they need to do? Just go and start a bunch of casinos and everything will be all right.
They'll probably make some like crazy claim that they get to do that now.
Probably.
So the Trumpers would be like, they
Right,
need
and then they'll
reparations.
all go out of business.
Well, hey, look, I'm okay if the Trumpers want to have their own little national little reserve somewhere out of the middle of nowhere, away from everybody else. And Trump is their leader, and he goes there and he runs a compound. Go for it. Knock yourself out.
To be fair, Britain tried something similar, and we ended up with Australia. So
I was going to say they call that Australia.
No, I say we just give them Mississippi. We say amnesty for anybody who's sane.
Give them a state. We got enough states. Give them a state. They can have the whole thing.
Give them Mississippi and let them do their thing. They'll all be dead in like a couple weeks.
I was going to say Alabama, but it doesn't matter. Give them one of them. Georgia.
My boyfriend's family is from Alabama. I can't do that to Alabama.
Hmm.
And the next one, by the way.
Give them Florida. Give them Florida. Because, Florida sucks.
Florida. Penis. Literally, America's placid penis.
So, on here, like, someone said about Trump running in 2024, and one person responded quite calmly. And then someone responded with, "He did win in 2020! Trump won in 2020! Trump won the election for president in 2020! Trump won the election for president in 2020!
Actually, he lost the popular vote twice.
He couldn't have lost more convincingly.
He got elected once, lost the popular vote twice, and got impeached twice. That's pretty impressive.
If you use more than 10 exclamation points in a tweet, that makes it true automatically.
So, there's also bad legal takes that we've got here from people trying to deal with Trump's loss.
Oh, I love bad legal takes. I love bad legal takes.
I can't make this shit up. Something goes, they swore Biden in at 11:55 instead of the official time of 12:01. And since you can't have two presidents at the same time at once, it breaks the law and the whole inauguration has to be voided.
That's what, it's brilliant. That's it. That's how it is. There you go.
How did they figure it out?
This guy clearly went to law school and has been practicing.
We were totally going to get away with it, and then this genius, he figured it out.
Translation: if mustard was green, the number 17 would hold a greater value in the alphabet.
I think they need to do the whole vote over again. I think everything's voided, and we just go back to.
Let's.
All right. One more stupid thing, then I need to go.
Okay. We'll go.
By the way, I won't say this real quick. The inauguration thing. I got to tell you, I was so impressed by the talent they had. Lady Gaga did a brilliant job. J-Lo and was Garth Brooks. That they had some really good talent. I gotta admit, the poet.
Holy
I don't remember her name. She came out of nowhere. Yeah,
blurring my words. Like I was just flabbergasted by her.
That was well executed, to say the least. The whole thing. So can you imagine the logistics for that? That must have been hell.
I can, because I live in the green zone.
But anyway, this is the next stupid thing. The Hawaii GOP says we should make it abundantly clear the people who subscribe to the Q fiction were largely motivated by a sincere and deep love for America. Patriotism and love of this country should never be ridiculed. And
oh my God, why?
I think
why do they hard on for freedom? Jesus.
Yeah,
they're excusing delusion is what they're doing. These people need mental health assessments, and they're just it's not they're just patriots. They're just love America.
Yeah, they just love America. Never mind the amount of shit they spout. And
I'm sorry, insurrection is not a love
civil war.
Yeah,
people who subscribe to Q are terrified of their relevancy and inconsequentiality in the universe, and are grasping at any straw they can to find some sort of purpose to their life, and they're also dumb as dog shit.
Oh, they've said county, not country. So love of county should do. So we can ridicule people for the love of country, but not the love of county. Got it.
I love my county. I live in a great county. I love my county.
Also, just before FTFE goes, I do want to bring this one up by Cyrus, right? So it's really ironic here. Executions for abortion. Arizona bill would treat procedure as murder, but backlash is growing. GOP lawmaker says it's perfect. Pastor who worked on bill said women should get death penalty. Right?
Okay, have they never heard of two wrongs don't make a right? Not that I'm saying abortion is wrong.
Why does it have to be, why can't it be the guy that impregnated her?
But the question is, like, aren't they pro-life?
Well, here's don't see, all these things are just obviously for show, because anybody who knows any of the law, none of that's ever going to happen. It's just not in the realm of reality. But it's to send a message to people that for their constituents. So look what I'm doing. I believe in this so much that I'm going to just, I want to outlaw abortion to the point where we're going to make it more, and he's going to have people following him for that.
And it's also
just pandering.
With the new Supreme Court justice, so these are called like trap laws, right? So they can't usurp the right to get a woman's right to an abortion because of a Supreme Court case. So what they do is they're infinitesimally like cracking down and making it harder and harder and harder on the state level to get one. And now that Amy Coney fuckface is on the Supreme Court, what could happen is some crazy red state could actually get this passed through, and then it gets challenged. It goes to the Supreme Court and sets a precedent that is nationwide that you can crack down this much on abortions. So it's a very slippery slope from this.
That's true. That is true. Very, very slippery.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would say to me it's prima facie unconstitutional.
Yeah,
but it won't. I mean, the court is. And
that's the problem with having such power with the Supreme Court and stuff like that, is it can change the entire legal landscape. That's why it's so the ability for a president to appoint a judge on SCOTUS is one of the most powerful things that they have at the abilities they have.
Yeah.
And by the way, I hated the fact that Trump had the power to do it, but legally he did, and people have to accept that he did not do anything outside of his power when he put her as Supreme Court justice. That's one of the perks of being a president. It sucks. But
the only thing that enraged me is that they wouldn't let Obama do it in his last year of office because they said it was too close to an election.
Yeah,
and I think, but I thought that was bullshit.
Yeah, bullshit. I'm saying that was bullshit. It's the hypocrisy that's.
Oh yeah, they're hypocritical as fuck. But there's nothing wrong with them doing it. Now. Do I do it? Would another president, if it was so close, like weeks or whatever, do you think that they probably would have waited? Probably most of them probably would have, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Obama, like you said, they didn't let Obama do it, or they fought him.
They didn't even let him. They didn't even bring him to bring it to the floor for a hearing.
Right. Yep. Not even a hearing.
Yeah. And this is the last one. I don't know. FTFE, do you have to go now, or do you still have a...
sorry, I can look at the last one.
Okay, so we've got this here where Senator Ted Cruz says, by rejoining the Paris Agreement, President Biden indicates that he's more interested in the views of the citizens of Paris than the jobs of the citizens of Pittsburgh. This agreement will do little to affect the climate and will harm the livelihoods of Americans.
What the actual... Is this guy an actual senator?
Yes.
He is, but I also think that he's a booger in a flesh suit. So
yeah, I saw this one before, and I was like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
Yeah,
oh my goodness! Fucking hell, that's so ridiculous.
Like, first off, I'm
Right.
assuming that what he means is that people will lose their jobs due to, I think, like, people work in oil fields or whatnot, or something. It's like,
And here's the thing: there's an argument to be maybe had about because I haven't looked at the data, but people, there's a data set out there that must say, okay, if we go back in the Paris Accords, how much per annual is it going to cost the American people? I mean, because we are going to have an effect of it, because it does have an effect on regulation of industry, and so that's going to be manufacturing costs are going to go up. We all understand this. Now, I also like to see the data set for how much the Paris Accords actually would reduce emissions over like a 100-year period, because what I've seen so far is it's nominal at best, and it's not. I mean, it's like 0.001 or something over 100 years. I don't know if that's true or not. But there might be an argument to be had, but it's so watered down with this kind of just dumb shit.
What the goal is to keep it under 1.5 degrees warming. Now, I think I think there's like only one country that has come close to achieving that, and the rest are like even New Zealand, a place that's probably doing well.
But you got China out there, which is one of the biggest offenders, which is not even in the accord, if I'm not mistaken. But if we're in the accord, how much do they expect is a reduction of climate change on a long-term thing with the Paris Accord?
It's like a sliding scale. So I believe China and India and other nations like that are also in the accord. I believe that once we pulled out, we were like the only major nation that wasn't. But it like when talking about jobs, it doesn't matter if like in the short term you might save a couple thousand coal mining jobs.
Yeah.
But those jobs will inevitably disappear, whether we blow up the climate through climate change, or like we develop better clean energy jobs, or we run out of goddamn coal. Like it's not a single economic model. So like why turn it off? Like let's just the right thing to do regardless.
Yeah, I mean, I like people in the election. Yeah, China's in the Accords, but like they're a huge polluter. India polluter. I don't know if going back in the Paris Accords is the best thing to do. But again, there's a discussion to be had about that. There is a reasonable dialogue to be had. And when you have people like Cruz out there who just nobody could take this guy seriously. Nobody could take this guy seriously.
They re-elected him. They just re-elected him, not in 2020, but the cycle before that.
But he shot himself. He shot himself in the foot when he wanted the count challenge for Arizona, and having those counts thrown out. That means they had to stop the count. They had to go into the chambers to have. I guess they got 2 hours to talk about it. And that's when the insurrection started. He's going to be known for that. They want him removed. They want him charged.
From Texas, I think one of you guys were, but y'all need to have a come to Jesus talk about what you're going to do about Cruz.
Yeah.
Okay. On that stupid. That's about
yeah,
all I can
we
say.
got to wrap it up.
It's
been 3 hours.
I got to organise a flat Earth debate, and that takes it out of my head. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Have fun. Good luck.
Take care.
Thanks for having me on, Planner.
All right. Let me know if they convince you. Let me know if they convince you it's flat. Okay.
This might be the one. It might be the one.
Might be the one.
Speak to you guys. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Hope. Yeah.
And do you have any last words, Steve?
No, actually, except for this was fun, man. I appreciate this. I was really kind of unexpected, and that you invited me on. I was like, "This is awesome! I'm thrilled. Thank you."
All right, now, so those are your final words. Now I've got this gun. I'm gonna shoot you. James Spade, do you have any final words?
No, I had a blast, and thank you for listening to my soapbox lectures on everything that's wrong with America right now.
No, it's refreshing. No, I don't know if you watch Over and Under. I do I hate to say political show because I don't do politics that much, but I do a political show with Atheist Pastor, and he's in Australia, so it's, I'm over because I'm in LA. He's under because he's in Australia, and we do talk about these subjects, and I do some other stuff on my channel with Landon, Kurt, and all. So it's refreshing when people actually are able to have dialogues on politics and not like be at each other's throats.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but I will put it on my list.
Yeah. Hopefully, like, people do sort of understand where, like, because I know that some people will disagree with us in the chat, and sometimes you do get, like, I can have my mind changed. I do know that because sometimes I do change my mind. But it is one of them things where I do have to look at evidence and all that kind of stuff to change my mind. And I do think that the
you're not going to change your mind about giving blowjobs, are you? Because I'm kind of counting on that.
Well, the context that because there is a bit of context to be considered there, because the context is that as long as it's specifically about a blowjob to Nathan Oakley, right? I'd need to have a magnifying glass, it would need to be a sunny day, and it needs to be outside.
See, I would be like, no, it has to be in the dark, no eye contact. Well,
what I'd do is I'd use the magnifying glass to try and see it, but oops, the sun burnt it off.
Cauterized.
That is the context there that I was getting at, but I see a few people didn't really understand the context. Anyway, yeah. So leave a like and subscribe if you liked that stream. And thank you very much, everyone, for the super chats. It's probably one of the most amount of super chats I've had in a single stream, probably.
Yes, and just to be safe, YouTube, we fully support wearing masks.
Oh, yeah.
In all contexts, and we do not believe that there was any election fraud. Just to cover our bases.
Exactly. Like honestly, the election fraud stuff is stupid. Like, and yeah, there's. I could get into that, but we're ending up the stream.
See that. He's going to go to his grave thinking, and with that narrative that there was fraud. He is. Yeah. He is.
But anyway, I will see you in the next stream. Between you and me, thank you for watching.